You're tuning into the Wild, Weird, and Sometimes Normal podcast. If you have a story or a guest recommendation that you think others need to hear, email me at wildweirdandsometimesnormal@gmail.com. Let's get this started. Alex and Brett, kick it!
Wild. Wild. Weird. And sometimes wild. Weird. Wild. Weird. Wild. Weird. Wild. Weird. And sometimes normal.
On this episode, I'm joined by my good friend and all-around funny guy, Joe Fadule. Joe has been on the pod previously discussing his experience with synchronicities and his time doing stand-up comedy. I couldn't think of a better guest than Joe to come on and recap all the craziness of 2023. We have Tiffany Gomas, and that motherfucker is not real. Damar Hamlin dying on the football field, and was it a Freemason ritual? Google AI telling Putin that the moon landing photos are fake. David Grusch and UFOs. Glitches in the Matrix. The best songs of 2023, and a preview of what's to come in 2024. I want to thank everyone who has tuned in, came on as a guest, reached out, shared the show, bought merch, everyone that keeps the show going week after week. I have some awesome guests lined up for 2024, and I'm sure a few people from last year will pop up again to catch us up on all things wild, weird, and sometimes normal. Anyway, give Joe a follow and enjoy the show. Are you looking to buy a home in New Jersey, escape the city and move to the suburbs? Finally purchase a vacation home on the lake or down the shore? Maybe you're one of the lucky ones who are retiring and moving out of state. If so, let me help you. Keller Williams and the Real Estate Professional Group have what you need to make your goals come true. Reach out and have a conversation with someone who will put you first. Contact Brian McCoach at 856-321-1212 or email brianmccoach@kw.com. Are you looking for CBD for your pet? My friends at Pure Pet Wellness have what you need. They use the highest quality ingredients. While other companies may use synthetic oils in their CBD, Pure Pet Wellness uses organic ingredients, organically grown hemp, organic coconut oil, organic shea butter, organic beeswax, and that's just to name a few. A family-owned and operated company that also offers fast shipping. Go to purepetwellness.com for all your pet's CBD needs and use the discount code WILD and WEIRD at checkout. That's WILD, A-N-D, WEIRD. Treat your animal right. Go to purepetwellness.com. Welcome to another episode of Wild, Weird, and Sometimes Normal. I'm your host, Brian. I have a returning champ, Joe, my twin, Fadule, coming back for the second time. What's going on, bud?
Not much, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, buddy. I can see your show's doing really well that you needed me to be your guest twice.
The ratings will shoot up whenever you're on, man. So it helps out. This will be our big end of the year episode. We're going to cover all things crazy in the news and pop culture, some celebs that died, what to expect in 2024, and then a couple of random things I need to run by you.
All right. Let's do it.
Let's do it. What's going on in life, man? Everything good?
Everything's good, man. I mean, last night I played poker like I usually do, and I won, so I'm happy. Yeah, buddy. I've been looking forward to this, just kind of talking about. You sent me this list of stuff, and I've learned more from you in just this email than anything from school in my entire life.
Well, some people would say this is
stuff.
just like too crazy, and maybe you're not learning anything. You're just getting, sucked into a rabbit hole of next thing would be storming the Capitol. But, I don't know.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, well, what do you want to start with? You have so much stuff in here. So, I mean, I literally just watched, you sent me the clip of the mouse running on the SpaceX rocket.
Yeah, you want to talk about that real quick?
Yeah, might as well. I mean,
all right. So I think this video might be not from 2023. Most of these stories are 2023 because I feel like I saw this before. And then it just popped back up in my news feed somewhere on Twitter. And I was trying to find the date on it and I couldn't. But It's a good story to talk about. So Elon Musk sends up his SpaceX rocket. It is in space. The engine is glowing red. The little parachute panels on the side to keep it insulated. They're whipping in the wind in space. And then towards the top of the rocket, the bottom part of like the body of the spaceship, the top of the rocket that's shooting out, appears what appears to be a mouse.
It's
shoots
a
up.
mouse. It looks
It's a
like
mouse, right?
definitely a mouse. I
So this
mean,
little critter thing comes around the top, and the truth is that it's a piece of space ice that fell off of the ship and then it's stuck there. So when it first gets there, it kind of goes down to the bottom and shoots the middle of the rocket, and you can see it. I'm like, well, I can't really tell if that's a mouse or not. Then that thing scampers away, and you can see that it has a tail.
yeah, it's definitely a mouse. Like I thought, like when I thought it was going to be like really hard to tell when I first clicked on the video, and I was just like, okay, like, it's definitely a mouse. That's crazy. I don't know why anybody. It's definitely ice is the stupidest. I mean, aside from the magic bullet theory, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard of an excuse for something.
So, what are your feelings on space? Do you think we went to the moon?
Well, I mean, the way you ask that's very. I mean, I don't think we maybe did it the way. I think people have been to the moon, but I don't think it's happened the way that we've shown. I'll say that.
Okay.
Well,
So
I'm
this
pretty
leads in.
skeptical about it. So yeah.
Okay. This leads into another story I have on here, and it works good. It's both space. So I'm going to mix this in, and we'll cover your feelings on space and the moon and things like that. There's Google AI, and there's a showing, and I assume it's Russia, and Vladimir Putin is there. And he's looking at these pictures, and Google AI has, there's six pictures on the screen. And
Yeah, I
Google
saw the
AI
video you sent. Yeah.
has determined if these pictures are authentic or due to shadows and lighting, if they were created, and if they're not where they say they were from. So one of the pictures on there is the astronaut standing on the moon. And Putin's looking at it, and they explain to him that like that moon picture is fake, and he just says, very interesting.
Yeah. That's
Have you
good.
ever gotten any of the moon conspiracies? You ever like, like
Oh, dude, yeah. I got people I'm friends with on Facebook, and all they do is just post all the conspiracy theories they believe in the world, and the moon landing is one of them. I mean, it's great. I get some of them. I mean, it's a weird dynamic. For me, I always think about why would we lie about these things, and that's what I don't get down to the crux of it. I know there's probably all these reasons behind it and stuff, but like I could see in the beginning with the first moon landing, it was kind of like to be the first people there. We wanted to be the first ones there, but now like it's not that big of a deal anymore. Why are we still lying about it? I mean, what are your thoughts? Like, why? I mean, you obviously think it's bullshit, right?
So this is where I get. This is the fine line that I walk. I try to keep my feet in reality while also entertaining strange ideas. So I think that the 1969 moon landing, I don't think that video is real at all. I don't think those pictures are real. I think they were taken on Earth, and this was the space race between us and Russia to show who was the dominant force. This is Cold War, post World War II. We at the show we're better than those Ruskies. So if Russia gets there first, they're the superpower. In theory, the whole world could have went different. I don't even know what their money is, rubles or whatever. Like instead of their petrodollar, we could have the petro ruble or whatever, and they would be the dominant. So we had to get the space first. Now, did that mean that like we could lie about it? Like, I'm not against that. Like, because this was just like all nationalistic and USA number one. So this is what I think. I think they sent a rocket into space. I don't think they knew it was going to happen. I don't think they would know if they could land on the moon, if they could get home from the moon. And like that's the worst thing you want is like, hey, everybody, tune in. It was July or whatever, right? Tune in on July. Yeah. It's 8 p.m. Eastern time, and here we go. We're talking to the astronauts, and next thing you know, they're crash landing and screaming and burning alive, or they're stuck on there. And for 3 days, you have radio calls of like, please send somebody to help us. We're running out of oxygen. Like all of that is fucking horrible. And like, so do I think there was a soundstage? There's rumors that Stanley Kubrick was part of this and filming these things. I think that's true. And I think that no matter what happened to those astronauts, those pictures were going to come out, and that was going to be the video that we would see no matter what to say we went to the moon.
Yeah, I mean, and I can see the logic behind that, but I just don't get why we'd still be lying about it. That's where like what's the driving force before? Yeah, we wanted to be the first ones there. Great. We, kind of showed that we were. But after that point, why do we have to continue to lie about it? And is it just people nitpicking now?
Well, I think once you have the buy-in of, these pictures are, we're such a great nation, and Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong and these people are national heroes, they're world heroes. And to come back and be like, well, actually, that wasn't even maybe that was Buzz, or maybe that was Neil in the picture, or maybe it was just Johnny the extra that they put on for that day and they're taking pictures. Like, I think that takes things away. Like, people are emotionally invested. And that's why it's
Are you
hard to
talking
say.
about just the initial landing itself?
So this is the initial landing. I think that's why you couldn't be like, hey,
Well, yeah,
actually,
I get why people still talk about that. I'm talking about like the pictures Putin was looking at. Like, why do we continue to lie about being there and continuing to like falsify? It's like,
so the picture he looked at
this
was like
far.
the Neil Armstrong one from the first mission. That's what he was looking at.
Oh, I thought it was
And
I thought it was a new picture.
no,
All
that
right,
was the original. So those shadows, like they just don't match up. They're like, hey, if the sun is over here, your shadow has to fall this way. And there's like
Well,
six
yeah,
different
yeah,
ways the shadows are going, and that just wouldn't happen. Now, if you want to come out and say there's like different space
yeah.
physics or something to, refract it, whatever,
Well,
But
aren't they
it's just
talking about going to the moon again, like in the future, like and doing it again and trying to
there's
prove?
so Elon Musk wants to go to Mars. There's a
Yeah, we'll
lot of
go to the
people
moon
saying
first.
that's dumb to go to Mars first without building a moon base. That they should go to the moon, build a base there, because then that's like a nice get you into space, and then I guess it's easier to fly off the moon with less fuel to go to Mars. And apparently you
Yeah,
can
it's a
mine
rest
a lot of
stop.
fuel. So just a little rest stop, get there, get organized, have all your stuff instead of always having to shoot out of Earth's atmosphere. And it takes all this extra energy and things like that. But they're supposed to go back to the moon. But we went to the moon a bunch of times, and they had the power of like this, like the calculators we had in grade school, like the T89 calculator was like the technology that they had, and they
Yeah.
figured out how to get up there, and then the spin of the Earth and all these things. And then they said they lost all the information how to get back to the moon. So we haven't gone back to the moon because they lost the information.
That makes sense. It's not important. So, I mean,
Zero important. They taped over it was like some of the original movies that they brought home from the moon. So they just said moon landing, and people just taped over them like to record TGIF on random Friday night.
I
Some
actually
guy
did that to my mom once. She wanted to kill. I recorded over. She had like my grandfather passed away, and she had like home videos of him, and I legitimately taped Die Hard over it. Yeah.
Did she understand?
No.
No, still
She was not happy.
Hey, Mom, it's the greatest Christmas movie ever.
Yeah. But anyways, not to sidetrack, you just made me think of that. But
No, so what you were, I mean, this wasn't this year, right? Like you were a child.
oh yeah. No,
You weren't a
we still
NASA
tape
government
record
employee
stuff.
understanding the importance of like the greatest thing that Americans possibly ever did up to that point.
Yeah, it's well. See, and I've listened to some of your past podcasts too, with a lot of this stuff, with like the conspiracy theories around it and stuff, and a lot of it, I see the logic behind it. I see, where people might think these things are conspiracies and stuff like that. But to me, like the flat Earth stuff and all that, like to me, it just always comes down to like, why do we continue to lie about it? Like, just seems like you don't have to. And I get the reasons why you might still want to, but I don't know. For me, I just like not to let it bother me too much, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, I want to be happy and not constantly think about why shit's fucked up.
I would have a show then. I
Yeah.
have to get myself in the middle of this muck. I have to live in this swamp.
Yeah, your show could just be called Normal or something.
Just normal. Yeah, we just talk about, hey, is it sunny over by you? Looks like it's pretty nice out.
The Earth's the circle. Next topic.
Yeah, moving on.
Yeah.
So I would say a lot of the stuff is just a money grab. That the world isn't united in many things except for money laundering. Seems like we're pretty good at either creating chaos, and then people. There's a Gulf of Tonkin incident, and this is Jim Morrison's father was the commander, and this is what got us in.
Oh, I heard that. Yeah,
right, into the Korean War, and they said, "Oh, our ship was attacked," and all these things. It never happened. Like there was zero that happened with that, so it was just made up. So Korea, this completely uncivilized society at the time, and how dare we ever listen to this second-rate citizens of the earth like question our narrative? But this got us into a whole war, and like nobody,
right.
The whole world just didn't question it and just let us pour billions of dollars into it.
I'm telling you, it makes, like I said, it makes me think, and especially when the way you talk about it, I'll give you very like you're gonna make me turn into like a flat earther and all that. And not really. I think it's round, but that's besides the point. Before you mentioned too, not to just jump topics on you, but when you mentioned like the AI and that, I watched that clip today with the AI news generated, like the news anchors, and like when I first clicked on it too, I was just like, I couldn't believe that those, like, right off the bat, they're the AI generated anchors. Like, because I was like, oh, they're going to lead up and show us them, but then they were actually like, that was insane to me.
They
We
were
don't
it the whole
need people. We
time.
don't need people anymore. Is basically what the news is coming to. That way, you can't
You're
get
not,
mad at anybody for saying shit.
but you're not even going to know. Like, they're not going to tell you that's an AI person. I think there's going to be this internal unease, like once it like comes out more, like, hey, watch Channel 6 News with Jim Gardner, and we're gonna make him look like he's, from 1990 and younger. But like, there's gonna be like a subtle unease where people want to listen to other humans talk to humans. Like, they're gonna get over this whole AI thing, but they're not gonna tell you that they're AI.
Well, yeah. Do you care?
No, but I was also then like, what if I don't know, what if Leonardo DiCaprio is not a real person at all? What if he is completely made up and he's in these movies and there's like this personal investment of like, oh, I'm a Leo stan, man. I watch everything he does, and Titanic's the best, like whatever it might be, like whatever bullshit person, whoever it is, like they could just not be real.
Well, it can be a good thing though too. So I know later we're going to talk about people who passed away this year, but maybe they can, we can do a Friends reunion again, and Chandler can be there.
Just bring back Matthew Perry. Just bring him back.
Right.
So I think when Robin Williams died, in his will, he said you cannot use AI for his voice or his person. Like, he had the foresight to see that you would just bring back like hologram Tupac, that he wanted nothing to do with that, and you can use him living.
I mean, but why? I wouldn't mind it. I mean, as long as I think, like, as long as you're not like actually like lying to people, like with a newscaster, I wouldn't care if he's not a real person or not. And I think we'd be able to figure out if you never see that person outside, like, you can never meet an AI person in person, so you would know. But on for movies, and I mean, if like you said too, Leonardo DiCaprio is not real, then animated movies, none of them are real. Those people are they're all characters, after a certain point. Like, we know he's real now, but I mean, if we still wanted to get movies from a certain actor or actress down the line, I mean, maybe it could be a good thing. But then any
I'm not like heavily invested in.
Later,
I'm not heavily invested in like Peter Pan, like seeing him in reality or something. Be like, like, I recognize he's a cartoon, or I recognize he's a piece of fiction, but he's not being sold as a real person.
right? Everybody, are you sad that you won't be able to meet Leonardo DiCaprio?
I may be more sad I can't meet Peter Pan. I just find it weird. We're at this stage. So there's really great AI videos. They're just off. They'll have Biden saying things like a newscast, at the podium, and say things like, within the next 2 years, how do we stop like a world war from happening if Biden's at the podium and he says, we've just launched nuclear missiles at Russia, and in 10 minutes they're going to hit, and it's on Twitter, it's on Instagram, it's on whatever. Like, where is like the checks and balances? No, they have like the red phone, the emergency phone they're supposed to do, but maybe it's North Korea. Like, at some point, there was zero dialogue with North Korea. It was either at the end of Obama's term or the end. Trump was friends with them. I don't know, or maybe at the beginning of Biden's term. Like, they were not talking to them. So what if this video came out and it's like, hey, we just nuked you, 10 minutes? Are they going to spend 7 of those minutes trying to figure out if they're going to nuke or not, or are they going to send up all their nukes?
That's true. I mean, obviously the technology can manipulate it and things like that too. I mean, what if he didn't even, like, there could be people that, put that video out there. He never even said it, but they just put it out there just to start chaos.
Right. That's what I'm saying. What if it's the AI Biden doing this?
Right. Total chaos. So in that sense, yeah, if people abuse the technology, I was just, I mean, in the sense of, if Leonardo DiCaprio is not really in my movie, I don't care about that. I would obviously care that if we have our president not saying things that he, people are faking that. But I mean, that's going to be with anything in life. People are going to abuse power any way they can. I mean, the gun seemed great until people started using it on, other citizens, who wanted it for war and stuff. Everyone's going to abuse anything in technology that comes out. So,
yeah, I think my DiCaprio example may have, I'm not too disappointed. I'm not going to go to like Comic-Con and see DiCaprio, whatever he's in. But the point is that I'll put all these links in the show notes so if people want to click on this stuff and see what we're talking about. But like it's a 21-minute video, and like half of it is the AI anchors talking and interviewing a real person, or they're like cutting to a real person talking, and you can't tell the difference at all.
Oh, not at all. Even the one lady starts like, I'm thinking she's real, and then she starts telling you how she's AI. She's like, oh, I can speak other languages. And I was like, oh my God, like would have never known unless I didn't know. even though you put in there that they were AI people, I thought I was waiting for them to present me the AI people, and then they just told me that they are the AI people. And I was like, Jesus, you can't tell at all. And that'll be the new thing too. So like now, like you were doing with the moon pictures, everyone's saying like that's a lie. And then we'll have these interviews and people saying shit, and people are like, oh well, that was an AI person, wasn't a real person. It's never gonna end. So it's gonna be people calling people's bullshit out for the rest of the time.
I wonder what circle of hell this is in Dante's Inferno. Like, how deep are we into it?
Very deep. Very, very, very deep.
It just doesn't end.
Yeah.
So the mouse in space. So as I was watching that video, we'll jump back to there real quick. And you see the tinfoil on the side of this rocket, and it's kind of loose. You know, it's not like taut over. It's not super tight that you would have over it. I was like, how does that rip off as it's shooting whatever, Mach whatever into the air? Like this thing is like flappy and loose. Wouldn't that rip right off?
Maybe it is something that ripped off, and that's the remnant.
I guess that's true too.
See that?
Yeah, just solved all of
I'm
this.
on this show.
All right, hey, tune in next week for the next episode. Joe just solved everything.
Other things can rip before.
It's just they put together these things with like mostly a kid's art project. The moon lander, like that never made it to the moon. Like that's crazy. That like saying that's one up there. Now, if there's like top secret ships that you're using that you don't want the public to know about and things like that, I feel like all of our stories just loop together. I could have jumped to like Tiffany Gomas and like people not being real now into David Grusch.
You know what's weird? I didn't realize when I'm going through these that they all kind of just interact, except the bird thing. I didn't.
Yeah, that's like a glitch in the matrix.
That video actually wouldn't open for me for whatever reason when I clicked on it. I don't know why.
The man doesn't want you to know. I'm getting too close to the truth.
So there's a bird just hanging in the air?
Yeah, so this is in February 22nd, 2023. This guy.
That looks like a balloon. That doesn't look like a bird.
Nah, that's a bird. So there's a bird that's just sitting in air. And if it was a balloon,
all right.
So it's just frozen in air. It's above some power lines. It's kind of wobbling slightly in the wind. It's wintertime. The trees have no leaves on them. It's like a dark overcast sky.
Yeah, I'm watching. That's just nuts.
Yeah, this guy walks up and he films this bird just hanging there.
Does he throw anything at it?
Nah, you took a shoe off and threw it at it and see what happened.
Yeah, I mean,
he got a stick. So I don't know, why the bird's frozen there. Somebody said that it literally was frozen. That was their answer for it. But okay, what's it frozen to?
Air, yeah,
like it was frozen underneath the wires or something. But like,
the rain froze. They're not floating in the fucking freezer.
Yeah,
I mean that's crazy, but damn.
So that's kind of like a glitch in the matrix type of thing that people are talking about. Like, are we just in this simulation? Are we in this computer program? And that just happened to be that the refresh speed wasn't caught up and it's just like buffering as it sits there. Yep. So that's a crazy idea there too.
Why would you ever stop recording that? Is my next.
I would have stayed there forever till it moved or got somebody.
Well, you can, you don't have to hang out with the camera the whole time. You can set up something and then leave. But like, put a camera on and watch it the whole time. That thing fly away. I mean, what happened to it?
I don't know. I need answers. Go get a stick and poke it. Like, do something.
Right. Anytime. I mean, you see anything like that, you're going to throw shit at it. How do you not throw shit at it?
So there was that video.
If there's a dead bird in a tree, we'd want to, we'd throw shit at that to knock it down, wouldn't you? Well, maybe not. Why would I do that? I just thought about it. But
if you were a kid, you would do it. You get a kid in the neighborhood to come do it. Like, hey, throw a rock at that.
Yeah. Just I mean, if I saw that floating there, I can't believe he's like, okay, well, I'm gonna put my phone away and leave now. That's dumb.
No, I looked at it long enough. I'm going to move on.
Yeah. Okay.
So there's this other video, and I was trying to find, and it happened around the same time period. And this one I find much harder to understand. So it's one of those prop planes that come up like at the shore, and with the sign, and it's like flip flops bar, or drinks $2, whatever it might be, drink high noons, and as the banner hanging behind them. So this person's at a beach, and the plane is just frozen in air, like it's not moving. The sign's not moving. The sign has like a little squiggle over it, and it's just stuck there. And they said, oh well, the official explanation is that if the headwinds are, I guess, faster or harder than the plane's flying, like the plane could just get stuck there. Like that's something that could happen.
Really?
I mean, How many times have you been to the shore? How many times have you been to the beach around the world? Hundreds? 1,000?
Yeah.
Right? We're 45 minutes from the beach. I have seen these planes. Now you see them take off. You see them get like wobbly in the air because you can see it's like blowing. You can see them having a hard time like staying on course. They like to fly like right along the shoreline, so everybody sitting on the beach can look out in the ocean and see a little bit. And sometimes you see them getting pushed off and they're like overcorrect. You can see all of this if you stare at the plane. Never once have I seen a plane just stop.
It would fall.
Well, yeah, I'm like, all right, we're in
Yeah,
the fall. Like if it's not using anything, yeah, this was like, I don't know who had the explanation, but some super smart scientist who's like, no, you guys are ridiculous. It's not just frozen in air. The wind is pushing hard enough against it and it's still going forward and it just looks like it stopped because it's not moving.
Well, let me ask you, was the video made to show like this happening? Like, is that the purpose of the video happening, or is it kind of?
Yeah, this was like
Did
another
someone
glitch in the
notice that
matrix with the
plane wasn't
bird.
moving, so they started filming it?
Yeah.
Okay, I
So they
didn't know if
noticed
it was
the
like
plane
something
wasn't,
else.
they noticed the
That's
plane
good.
wasn't moving. And in this video, so the bird one, like you just see one guy there and, or person, I don't know who's filming it, and they're walking around. So like, okay, could they have set up this elaborate hoax where they get clear, like, I don't know, a clear piece of plastic that I can't see and they just have it sticking up? Yeah, there's something. Maybe they erased whatever it was. Maybe it was photoshopped. Like, I'll
Yeah,
give you
yeah,
that.
yeah.
I wasn't there. I don't know. This biplane that's in the air, this guy person, I don't know, male or female, walks out of their house and there's a commotion. And so he's like filming the people at first and then goes up in the sky and like everyone is pointing at this plane and multiple people are filming it. Like that would
Hmm.
take a lot of work. That would take money if you were hiring extra. And everyone was kind of like, dude, it's frozen. Like, do you guys see this? But it's just because the headwinds were too strong and pushing it back.
But you say that so the banner thing on it wasn't moving either?
The banner wasn't moving, and it's not like it was just straight out. Like
Yeah.
it had like a waver in it, like it was like blowing in the wind, but then just stopped like half blown in the wind. So it's not like
You
if
have
the
this
winds were
video?
so strong. I'll try to find the video.
Yeah, that's. I'm scared now.
Yeah. So what ruined it was in October, this major plane, like a 737, whatever the planes are, like a real plane, a big one, was flying over the Golden Gate Bridge, and somebody was coming in for a landing. But they were like, "Oh, the plane's frozen." They took a video of that as it was going, and that one, I watched it. It kind of does. It looks kind of frozen, but then also I think that's more of a perspective thing, like as they're coming in and the plane's going, and just
Yeah.
like their directions. So I didn't give that one much credence. But as I searched for plane frozen in air, that's like what kept coming up because that just happened in October or November. It's like, no, I need the
Yeah, I want to see that. That
I need the old
seems
one.
weird.
Yeah. So one of the I think it's called a Google bomb. And what they do is you take a term that's like in the mainstream that might not be so positive, so maybe this floating plane, but then you release this other one and then put out, hey, like plane stuck in midair. So now every time you search for it, you're going to find, this
That,
one
yeah.
that's like not as interesting as the other one.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll move on from that. We're not going to get into all the crazy stuff.
Talk about that crazy lady on the plane since we're talking.
So we have Tiffany Gomas. She was flying out of Dallas, or she was in Dallas for a layover.
Dallas
I lost my
sucks.
stuff. Dallas does suck, except for all my Dallas fans. You guys, I appreciate. Everyone else, though. So she's flying out of Dallas. She's on the plane. They're about to take off, and she jumps up and she's running off the plane, and she's turning around and she's pointing back there, and she's like, "They're not real. That motherfucker back there is not real." She's like, back, keep screaming that they're not real. So people are filming this. Carrot Top's on the plane, like he saw all of this, and she's pointing back and saying how this person's not real. So they called airport security. They had to deplane her. Apparently, she kind of just ran off and like nothing ever happened to her. And she got tracked down. She got a little internet famous for this. Currently, she works with Barstool or somehow in conjunction with them. She's always showing up with El Presidente, and she was selling.
She just blew it off. Like she said she knows she looks crazy, but she was just what? How did she word it? She said like she's not crazy, but I forget exactly what she said. So you can.
Yeah, so she's not going into detail about what happened, and she's like, "Oh, kind of what happened was like somebody took her AirPods and her family, or like her story's also changed a little bit." And then she was like, "Oh, I didn't mean like that person's like not real. I meant like they just want like being like a genuine person." And it's like, well, no, like you wouldn't scream that motherfucker's not real. But like
she had to be on something. That's what I think.
Well, so this is the other. So all right, let's do the crazy part first. So people are like, did she see a lizard person? Did she see like a shapeshifter? Did she see like an alien, like something? Like in my world, this isn't too crazy. In the real world, people might like, a what?
Yeah.
But so she's like getting off the plane. Now, what happened with her? Maybe like kind of like a Tiger Woods thing. Like maybe took some Ambien and woke up and decided he's going to go drive his car and back up into a fire hydrant or whatever it is.
Right. Yeah. Things I don't get. She went on, like, her explanation was terrible. Now, if you did this thing, have a good story when you come back. I would just say, look, I don't know what the hell I was on, but I was just messed up. Because she sounds even stupider, I think, when she tries to explain it. Like in your explanation, someone took your AirPods and now you're just saying that people don't exist. Like, that's weird.
I don't understand when, like, even it's not the truth. The easy answer is like, look, I was at the airport for 3 hours before my flight took off. I had a drink and then I took an Ambien. I know I'm not supposed to do that. Like, I read the box. I know it's not supposed to happen. I did that. And then I kind of woke up and like, I didn't know what's going on. And I honestly kind of blacked out for all that because I was mixing medication and alcohol. And nobody would have said boo about it. Been like, oh, hey man, been there, seen somebody. It's normal. People apparently wake up from Ambien like all the time, like walking around naked at their house and like stuff like this, and go down and make like full sandwiches, and like there's like Ambien sleepwalking that is a pretty common side effect.
But she said she didn't say anything to anybody for a while after it happened too. So you had some time to think about what the hell you're going to say. I don't know why she didn't just admit to it.
So little side story here. This kid I went to high school with, I grew up with, Matt. He was a nice guy. He was, I think, class vice president. Super smart, played sports, was friends with everybody, was, somewhat popular. He was popular. Everybody knew him. He knew everybody. He goes to college in Washington, D.C., gets a government job. He's in these programs that people who finish these programs become head of agencies, become like John Kerry finished the program that he was in. Like, this is pretty prestigious things that he's doing.
Yeah.
Well, on the side, he had a podcast. Michael J. Fox turns into a werewolf. Teen Wolf. Right. Yeah. Coach Flintstock was the coach in Teen Wolf. So he was using that as his persona on a podcast. Well, his podcast was like neo-Nazi. Like, he was full-fledged neo-Nazi. He was hosting the second in line. I don't know who, Spencer or whatever, like, is the number one guy or something. And then like he was hosting like the second in line at his house. He was hosting new recruits he had a wife. He had 2 children. He's living in a exclusive neighborhood in Northern Virginia next to DC. Wow. He's making swastika cookies. Dude, like, what the fuck? Like, okay. So he's on his podcast. He wants only like a white majority in the country. Only like, not majority, like strictly, like everyone else has to go.
This guy was your best friend?
I was friends with him. I was he was friends. Like, he ran our group, like,
Yeah.
The parents are super nice. Parents are super normal. So he wanted to get rid of everybody except for white people. But like, that doesn't, like, you don't just like ask people to leave and like they're gonna, like, so this is like violence, right? You would need like mass violence. He has 2 small children. Like, okay, so he gets busted. SPLC does this whole article on him. Some other one does an article on him. Outs him, all this stuff. Huge news in the Sterling High School community. His brother turned him into the FBI because he would go on like these family camping trips or whatever and would get like deep into all of this, like why his ideas are right.
So he just lost his mind along the way?
Lost his mind, right? Lost his mind. Doubles down on all of this stuff. So he like lost his mind or whatever it was. And like, these are all like disgusting thoughts and ideas to have and to go on saying and promote. So I don't think he's fired. I think he's like still suspended because I've seen some follow-up articles. He gets everything that's happening to him, he deserves, right? Because these are his thoughts, apparently, right?
Yep.
If you were a disgusting person and you want to get out of this, the easiest thing to say is, I'm working with the FBI. I am undercover with the FBI. And guess what would happen, right? Nobody could prove, the FBI would be like, he's not working with us, right? You would still get to kind of keep your job. Like, nobody would ever prove anything. Like, he just kept doubling down. So great. This isn't like my sticking up for Matt Gebert here. This is
No, I hear you.
The craziness of, that's the simplest story to tell somebody. Instead of, I am overtly racist and I am hoping there is a race war in the United States and that somehow me and my family are still going to be living our pretty posh life that we have. Like, that's not going to happen. Like, the whole country would burn down. I'm going off on a tangent over Tiffany Gomas. Her whole thing was not to say shit for a month and then come out with this ridiculous story that's even crazier than like, hey, you know what? A little bit of alcohol, a little bit of Ambien. Yeah. It all worked out. And people would be like, oh, yeah, I understand. Oh, FBI informant? Like, nah, probably not. But hey, maybe. Like, I'm not one. I have no idea how that stuff works.
Well, talk about your friend. So
Not my friend anymore.
Well, yeah. Is there like, did their family know of a point where they think this happened? Something happened in his life that triggered that? Because obviously he wasn't that way when you knew him, right?
He was friends with everybody from every different background. He listened to rap music. So obviously he can't be racist. He's listening to Wu-Tang. But like he listened to like, it wasn't like he was like, hey, I only listen to Roy Rogers. I only listen to Roy Roger because this is like perfect Americana of the time that I'm trying to achieve. He was normal. And like his parents had no idea until like this stuff like hit the news. And there's like some pretty good articles about him. And then like newspaper people are showing up in their neighborhood to interview them and be like, hey, what's happening here? But no, I guess he got crazy on some of these retreats. Maybe they heard him. I don't know the full thing. I just feel his parents they still are nice. They're super nice. I mean, I still live back in that neighborhood a few years ago. His dad would ride his bike by my house and, I'd still say hi to him. And I felt so horrible for him because like he was,
Yeah. You said he had a brother, right?
He had a brother and a sister. And like the sister just like ghosted. She's like off everything. And the brother was, I don't know, but he's like, I had to call the FBI on my own brother. And I said, well, good. Thanks for doing that. Because, you don't want these people wandering around society.
Hey, that's nuts.
Yeah. I don't know how this relates to Tiffany Gomas, except that like,
well,
just fucking lie about your story, like it's fucking easier.
It's just people. I mean, yeah, that's a crazy story. What was his name? Matt? Well,
hey, whatever, man. He's in the news. Matt Gebert.
That's
Write that one down. You're like, look, yeah. So they SPLC. Someone else had some articles on him. I'll Google every once in a while to see if anything comes up, if he popped up anywhere. But they said like, so then reporters are going to his house in Virginia, and he's like, oh, he's taking the trash out with a gun in his waistband. It's like, what is happening?
Yeah, he
like,
lost his mind. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Some people just lose their minds.
So that's crazy. Let's talk about someone else who lost their mind. Let's switch over to something a little more, I don't know if it's lighthearted or not. So my podcast has some crazy stuff. Then we do normal stuff. And I always mix in sports analogies. Draymond Green. Draymond Green, the other night, he's playing
that spinning back fist. Yeah,
he's playing the Phoenix Suns. He's down in the corner, 3-point, trying to establish some position, kind of like trying to post him up, but he's in the corner. So I'm not really sure what he was doing. Nurkic isn't playing too hard on him. Like he's trying to just get position, just some jockeying or whatever. So Draymond Green decides he's going to do a spinning open hand slap punch to like his neck face area. And he does this. Earlier in the year, they were playing Minnesota Timberwolves. He decided he was going to choke Rudy Gobert to like an excessive point, put him in a chokehold, would not let him go. Rudy Gobert like tapping out and all this stuff, like people trying to rip him off, and he is not letting go, just has him in this chokehold. He has in the NBA Finals in 2016. Well, so that was, I think, last year. He stomped on his chest. He kicked LeBron James in the goods.
In the ball,
yeah, and he got kicked out
from the balls before too, didn't he?
So there's like a highlight reel of him, like Steven Adams. He goes for a rebound, and like this,
that's
this like Charles Barkley. Barkley would like bring his foot up for these rebounds, but it was never like this karate kick. And like Draymond Green has like this. So anyway, he's suspended indefinitely.
Definitely, yeah.
He needs to. I don't know. He needs to get himself under control. We have other people in the NBA. This is all NBA related. Ja Morant was suspended for 25 games. He was suspended for a while. I think actually he left on his own accord. There was a Instagram live video of him at a club, and he had a gun in his hand. So he went to a wellness center. He went on vacation for like 2 weeks, get down to Florida, and came back like, oh, I feel better. I talked to somebody. And then there was another Instagram live video, and his buddy's driving, and he has a gun in his hand again as he's rapping along to whatever. And he was suspended for 25 games. Is what Ja Morant did worse than what Draymond Green is doing?
Personally, I don't think so. I mean, you go down the whole gun wormhole now.
But so you're going to suspend somebody for not being a role model?
Right. Well, that's the thing too. What I hate too, and just everything in this world today, someone does something or says something or whatever they do, they got to go somewhere, and they think that wherever they go is automatically just going to change their mind about all of it. It's all just for the media spin on it. Just like, oh, I went here, it's fixed, and I have again. That's supposed to make everybody feel good about it. I don't know about Morant's life before. Maybe some people like guns. People are allowed to carry guns. Maybe he just doesn't have. I guess it's not licensed.
Right. No, I don't. So there was no legal trouble he was in. This was the NBA saying that what
Right.
he was doing was like bad image, was bad for. So he's doing this off the court. He is doing this on his own time. I don't know. He plays for the Memphis Grizzlies. I don't know the gun laws and
Yeah, I don't
Memphis
either.
or, you know.
But
But
I
I
mean,
would
I think
assume
with
that if he's
Draymond Green,
flashing a gun, like that's illegal, and the cops would get involved. But they didn't. So apparently that could be legal there.
yeah, I mean, if it's the gun thing. I mean, do I carry a gun around? Do I flash a gun around? No, but I mean, I think Draymond Green's where he's physically hurting. And he's getting worse. I feel like everything Draymond Green's doing progressively gets worse. Like the chest stomp. I mean, he could have. It looked bad, but if he really wanted to stomp the shit out of somebody, it would have been worse than that. Then the choke. That's getting worse. Okay, now you're actually choking somebody, and then he could have said that was just in the moment of a scuffle, but this thing now, that was a total spinning back fist, like UFC shit. He's just been progressively getting worse, and he's actually doing violence to other players on the court of the sport that he's playing in. Morant off the court has a gun. I mean, he's a douchebag, but I mean, I definitely think Draymond's worse, in my opinion. And what's the
it's
Dylan
good.
Brooks thing? What's Dylan
So
Brooks?
Dylan Brooks is just kind of he's just like a little bit of a punk. Like who was the guy that always got under LeBron's skin? Dylan Brooks does it too. Oh Jesus, he would blow in his ear in the finals. He was on
Oh yeah. Who was that?
yeah, that guy was great. But like just these like little like
Well, see, that's like trash talk. That's just trying to get into your competitor's head. Draymond's punching their head. Like,
yeah. So Dylan Brooks will do some groin shots like pretty often. He's like, oh, I'm going for the ball as he like punches a guy in the balls. I play, not a lot of basketball compared to these guys. I play basketball. I played growing up. I still play now. I am not anywhere near their level of talent or in the competition. At the same time, like maybe my game's slower, but everyone I'm playing against is slower. So, you ramp that up. We should all be able to see at the same speed.
yeah,
Like you definitely know when you're going to punch a guy in the balls. Like it's pretty
yeah.
like you can't dribble on top of yourself like that. So like the ball has to be out somewhere and like going for
Did
it.
that
So Dylan
happen? I
Brooks,
didn't see anything with this Dylan Brooks. Did this happen recently? It was like a
he
straight.
had, I think this year he had something. The last couple of years he's punched LeBron in the balls. He does like just dirty play.
All right.
Oh, it's killing me. Lance Stevenson blew in, like he was such a prick, and he would like blow in LeBron's ear,
Yeah,
and he
yeah,
would
yeah.
do
I
like this
remember
whole
that
like
now,
jersey hold. But, like that's also like kind of gamesmanship. Dylan Brooks punches dudes in the balls. John Morant carries a gun around off the court, and Dylan Brooks, I think he's been suspended a little bit, not fully sure. John Morant suspended on his own. He took himself out before they could suspend him. Then they did 25 games, and apparently they're sorry. I don't know. Draymond Green like never takes responsibility. He did like it was like the weakest
Yeah,
apology.
yeah,
He
yeah.
did just have on.
That's what I'm saying. These apologies that they make people do, they're not. Look at that. Me, my wife, and I will get in arguments sometimes. Obviously, married couples do that sometimes. And you get the bullshit. I'm sorry sometimes, which makes me more mad because I know she doesn't mean it.
Yep.
Or then when you can get the sincere sorry. When I get a sincere sorry from my wife, everything's fine. But when you get these bullshit I'm sorries from these people, like it's dumb. So the media saying, "Oh, you got to go apologize." Like I'm supposed to believe that you really think you don't give a shit. Like, you don't go from choking somebody and then spinning back this. Like you obviously nothing. You have anger problems.
Right. So I think that's what they're trying to do is trying to help him. And if he really wanted to apologize to him, like go to the locker room, like, hey man, like can I talk to him for a minute? Like I want to apologize. And then at the podium, like, hey, you know what? I did something wrong. I went and spoke to him. We're not going to bring that up here because I already handled it with him man to man. But like, if you're just doing it through the media, you're like,
And that's what he's doing.
well, like in old school when the guy came home and his wife's in the gangbang, like, oh, you're here for the gangbang?
Oh yeah.
And Juliette Lewis, she's like smoking the cigarette. She's like, I'm sorry, it's completely not there.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's like, well, if you want to buy that, sorry, I'm here to sell it. But like nobody gives a shit. Like Draymond Green, you're not sorry, dude. You're doing this on purpose. It has gotten worse.
Yeah, I mean, literally, he just needs to go to like. Now, I know I just kind of said too, like people go away and get these things fixed, but like with the John Morant thing, where do you go to? You like carrying a gun around. What kind of rehab do you go about carrying guns around? Like you like guns and you don't, you want to carry one. That's not something I think is like a mental thing. Anger management, I think Draymond, he should be suspended. He should have mandatory anger management. He should have to do it the rest of his career. And every time, if he has another blow up like this, I mean, who knows when he's even coming back? He's old. He might be done.
Well, he just signed $100 million contract. So unless they, whatever they put these clauses in,
There's got to be a clause like your asshole clause. something
Because he's
like
not going to be able
that.
to stop. This is a second big blow up this season, and we're
Right? Yeah.
3 months in, 2 months into the season. So if he's
Yeah.
indefinitely suspended, let's just say it's 10 games. He's going to do something again. Like you have to double it, you're going to triple it, or you're going to kick him out for, it's just funny. Some of this stuff. I was looking up, the biggest suspensions, and OJ Mayo was suspended 186 games or something. So I looked it up. I was like, dude, like the guy was supposed to be good. He was, I think, at USC, never really panned out. But they suspended him 186 games for drugs. He was
Hmm.
doing it himself. Like he wasn't, these weren't performance enhancing drugs. Like he was smoking weed.
Yeah.
But like, okay, like smoking weed doesn't really make
You're
you better
allowed
at
to.
basketball.
Right. Yeah.
All you're doing is hurting yourself. But punching other dudes in the face, like that's not gamesmanship for the next time down the court. Like, oh, he's not going to guard me that hard. Yes, you're afraid you're going to get assaulted. Like this isn't like
Right.
the way of basketball. I don't know. So I just saw that. I threw that in here. That was
No, I
something
like
new.
it. What another thing sports related to the Otani contract? How nuts is that thing?
So
You saw how they broke it down? Where he
yeah,
really only gets well, it's a $700 million 10-year contract,
10
but he
years,
gets
700
2
million.
million. Yeah, he only gets 2 million, and it's all 68 million for 10 years after the fact.
Right.
He's a
So
genius, this Otani guy, because he's making so much money right now from like commercials and other shit like that, plus the 2 million. And then when he's basically done, this is like Bobby Bonilla deal on steroids, $68 million for 10 years after the fact. He's set for life. But here's a question for you: would you rather? Well, you're probably going to be Otani, so I'm kind of answering my own question here. But so he's busy as shit. He's got to fly all over the country playing baseball, doing all that stuff. Or would you rather be Frank Reich, who got fired? He's how many million? I think he's like 40 million, maybe, and he doesn't have to work at all for 5 years because they let him go. He does nothing and makes 10 million. Or would you have to do a shit ton and have more money than you can ever even have to spend, but you have to do a lot?
so 45 million, that is, it's always,
I'm not even positive that's the right number, but it's anything. It's high. I know that it's a lot of money, and it's the same thing with the Raiders coach who they fired, McDaniels. He's getting paid out the ass also.
so I love when they have the winter meetings for the offseason meetings for the NFL coaches. And then Roger Goodell apparently hands all the teams this spreadsheet of like how much money you're paying fired coaches. And he's like, guys, like someone's going to start off 0-2, 0-3. Do not fire your coach. There are,
Yeah.
people are owing like $100 million just on coaches. They're not even paying. And it's crazy. I would take the $45 million up front. You can invest that and live very comfortably for the rest of your life
And not do anything, right?
and not do anything.
Right.
More than comfortable. You can live, pretty extravagant. It just
Especially baseball is
bullshit.
nonstop. Baseball is a lot of games.
Baseball, you factor in spring training, and if you make it to the World Series, you're going from February 1st until November 1st. You have December and January. It's like it's if you had to be the worst for professional sports, it's pretty much up there.
Yeah. Especially, I'd be fine if someone gave me that money. The life I'm living right now, if I just didn't have to work, I'd be fine living in this house for the rest of my life and just having that money just to sit on. And not, well, obviously invest it and shit like that, but like just be set for life with no more worries.
Yeah, that's the
That's what I
goal.
would do.
So the Otani thing is interesting. So he took the $2 million so they can get more free agents, give them more flexibility in spending.
Yeah.
At some point, this is going to be the new rage. This is going to be all the rage that people are going to kick money down the line. Everyone's going to be Bobby Bonilla now, getting paid, 30 years after he's been out of the league, he still gets, there's Bobby
Yeah.
Bonilla Day. But at some point, someone's going to go sell a team, but they're going to have $1 billion in liabilities of outstanding contracts.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But that's 68 million is going to go against the cap in 10 years. Now the hope is the cap rises so much, and then maybe you can.
The numbers are insane. Like, there's going to be $1 billion contract soon. In like the next 5 years, I bet you someone signs for $1 billion.
It's crazy that they had Jaylen Brown of the Boston Celtics. He just signed in the offseason. His end of the contract so far, I think he's the highest paid person, and $70 million a season. And that money is like stupid money. It's like hard to fathom in real life. But for the salary cap and things like this is sports isn't real life. So like, but he's making a shit ton. But it used to be, I think like Jordan made 20 at the most he ever did. LeBron was at 30 for a long time until it went up now. But you're gonna have bums. You're gonna have these guys that you hate are on your team who don't do shit. The Tobias Harris of the Sixers right now, where you're like, how is he making $27 million? But he's not consistent. Like I hate having him on my team. And then like the 3 times he does good out of 10 games, you're like, yes, I love Toby. And then for 7 games, this was like what Iguodala was for us back in the end of the Iverson era. You're like, I can't, like, why are we paying him so much money? You're gonna have a guy making $40 million who you hate, who you don't want on your team, who you wish they would just cut. It's insane.
It's almost as insane as paying a coach $40 million to not coach your team.
That is my goal, to suck so much that somebody wants to give.
I know.
Be so good, they give me a ton of money, then suck so much. Like, just take the money and leave.
Yeah. So everyone's showing like Frank Reich's stat, dude. He just struck gold. His life's amazing.
Yeah, that's crazy. All right, let's stick to sports. Let's go to Damar Hamlin.
Yeah.
He is in a playoff game, plays for the Buffalo Bills. He
Yeah, if
dies
you
in the
haven't
field.
heard about this, you're living under a rock. If you haven't heard about it, Jamie knows about this, and she hates football. So
She's on top of it. Everybody loved Damar when he came back. He would do this sweet, hold his hands up in a heart sign before he died in the field. So the playoff game, he's dead. There's like 10 minutes left in the game. They called the game, right? And they tried bringing him back on the field for a long time. When you do heart compressions, chest compressions, to get the heart massage, that's the point of like the, thing staying alive and you're going to the beat. Like, you have to break the sternum, and like as you're pushing down, you're massaging the heart that way. Like, you're not going to get a good enough push on it. And doing it for 10 minutes, like, that's what's going to happen. 2 weeks later, because the Bills are still in the playoffs, Damar Hamlin returns to a game. He's not playing. He is dressed like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. He's got on puffy jacket. He has on puffy pants. He's got a hood on, a winter hat. He has snow goggles on. You can't even see his face. And he has a mask on. So you just really see his nose. This is supposed to be Damar Hamlin. He is standing up during the game. They get the only shot they truly have of him, it's kind of like blurry and snow. If you see him standing up, there's like a little kid next to him. And, his cute little heart that he put up with his hands, some of his fingers kind of go up and give this little 666 thing kind of going on. Do you think Damar Hamlin was cloned? Is this the real Damar Hamlin back on the football field?
I mean, I haven't heard a lot of the stuff. I know you didn't mention it, but the tattoos, not showing up and things. Like, I think this is another thing where I don't get why would lie about this. I mean, obviously, I get what you're saying with the, it can't be. It makes sense what you're saying, but I just don't get why it would even turn into this. So, do you think he actually just did die and they didn't want to fess up to that, so they just faked it?
So, if he never came back and played football, it gets tricky that he came back this season and he was playing. That gets to be like the hard part, because to be a professional athlete, there's 55 guys on the NFL roster times the amount of teams. You're at 1,500 or so. So to get that spot and to be a starter, you have to be a really good athlete. Like, you have to be freakishly good athlete. So for somebody to slide in who kind of looks like him, to be a clone, to be a twin, to be whatever, like that would be, I don't know, that's a lot for me to buy into. Him dying on the field, I mean, I think the guy was dead. Like, there used to be a thing, like, nobody died at Disneyland. Like, you could have been decapitated and they would keep working on your body to say you didn't die until like you left Disneyland. Now, like, some people like really died on rides, like no coming back from that. And now you're at that. But there was this long period where like nobody's ever died in Disneyland, because they'll just keep working on you and like, nope, still alive. Look, we're pumping the heart. And then you get off property, you're like, oh, sorry, man, guy's dead. It's just weird. Maybe the heart attack, couldn't get his fingers all the way down.
Yeah, I don't think the 6'6" thing's anything. And I think, I mean, I don't know. I mean, he's live. He's obviously there. Like you said, you can't just pose somebody else there and then they can go play defensive back in the NFL. Like, looks exactly like him. I don't agree with. I mean, it's weird, especially with the chest compression thing where you're saying, but maybe I don't know. Is it documented that's what they did? Like, it was definitely chest compressions. It wasn't like a little medevac machine or anything that just.
They didn't bring the card out right away, so there were people working on them that I guess.
Right. Yeah, I got you before the stuff
to do that.
There, yeah.
And they said they were working on for 10 minutes.
I didn't know they would break. I didn't know it could break your ribs. Like, that's definitely it always breaks your ribs.
Pushing down, I think that's kind of the goal, so you can massage the heart more. But you have to be careful, like a rib, a broken sternum doesn't like pierce a lung. But that's kind of like, hey, we'd rather fix your pierced lung than have you not getting blood to your body. I think it's something that's very common. You're pushing down, hard. That's why you can't do the chest compressions on a baby type of thing. Like, you just use like 2 fingers because you don't want to, switch through.
Well, I mean, if he broke ribs, that's not that big of a deal. I mean, some of these players break ribs and they still play.
Right.
So, I mean, you could theoretically be standing up 2 weeks later. He was all bundled up. I remember seeing that. And they also had him like he was in the box, and it was always like a glare. Like, you couldn't get a good view of him. But maybe it's just because I don't know. maybe he just looked like total shit. Maybe his eyes were bloodshot, and maybe he's all fucked up. Didn't want people to get a good view of him. But I mean, he's obviously alive still. It's the same. I mean, we saw what he looked like before. You can't, like you said, you can't double someone with that talent. It's an AI person. That's what it is.
It's AI. So you're asking, why do they do this stuff? You're asking that for other stuff too. And this is great.
Well, I get it too. And there, football, you want people to continue to play your sport already with the CTE shit. You know, they got people, they don't need that. You can now die if you get hit a certain way.
So that's the part. The way that he died on the field is that he got the crown of a helmet into his chest, right? And they said that's what stopped his heart. He got hit so hard it stopped his heart. And they're like, oh, actually, it can happen. I've been watching football for 30 plus years, 35 years. I've been actively watching it. It's been going on for 100 years. When did somebody else die? Like, there used to be, before we had player safety, like the way to tackle a guy was to spear him into the chest. And, you know, we had people get paralyzed that way.
Pads were also bigger back in the day, but that's besides the point. I'm just saying too. I mean, it can just be. I mean, there's everything. There's a kid I went to high school with, and just these freak accidents can happen. He fell. He was a photographer. He was in a tree taking pictures of birds. He was literally 5 feet off the ground, fell out of the tree just the way he landed, killed him instantly. Like,
that's fucking terrible, man.
Yeah, it's like horrible stuff like that. So I'm just saying, I think there is just freak circumstances where you get hit, and I think I heard too, like the hitting, it was like the timing of it came into play. It was like perfect timing for it all to just fuck him up.
Yeah, like where his heart was beating at that time. Like I guess as if you're pumping in or out, whatever it might be. So like just the worst circumstances possible lined up, and he dies in the field. All right, so let's get crazy for one more second, and we'll move on to something else. So everyone's kneeling down around him. Like everyone has a knee. You take a knee. The only person standing up is number 33. 33 is the highest level you can go in Freemasonry. So a lot of these conspiracies, they tie back to like Freemasonry. There are all these rituals. There's all these things. The Freemasons are behind it all. we're not going to get too crazy.
I don't even know what that is. I'm not gonna lie.
So it's like a secret society type of deal. They have Masons now. There's I don't know where the Mason lodge is here, but like it's kind of like the Moose, the Elks. It's just like secret thing. So like George Washington was a Freemason. Washington D.C. was built in Freemasonry. So it's the compass and the square. So then ends up being the compass up almost looks like kind of like this. You'll see the symbol, and it's not this deep dark thing. It's for the most part, it is just like a men's club, a person's club. Maybe you have women in the now. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the higher you get up, apparently you get more enlightened. You're read into the secret history of the world, whatever it might be. So this is where it gets like, why was 33 standing up at everybody? So they're like, oh, this is a Freemason ritual, which, you know, kind of fucking crazy that you're going to, hey, this guy's going to die in the field. Everyone's going to kneel down and this guy stands up. Like that sounds like crazy shit, right? So we get into switch subjects and maybe tie back a little bit. David Grusch, he's government whistleblower. He came out, he testified in front of Congress, I believe it was in July. He comes out and he whistleblows that the U.S. government has recovered full intact UFOs, partially crashed UFOs. They have double-digit UFOs in their possession. And they've also recovered the pilots of these crafts. Not all the crafts had pilots. Some of them did. They recovered them. Calls them NHI, non-human intelligence. These are not people flying these crafts. They're not current human beings. He doesn't get into too much. He keeps saying it's all top secret. And he has been on a interview blitz really ever since the congressional hearing. He's sworn under oath. It's him. It's David Favor and another David. The other David, he was flying North Carolina, and he was like, dude, we would see this stuff all the time. You know, we would take off. We would see, it was almost like they were expecting you. We would show up, and there would be this UFO thing, and we'd fly. This was our training flight grounds, and they were always there. We'd see them daily. And he came down. David Faber, he was the commander of the Nimitz, or he was a flight person on the Nimitz, a pilot. And he was flying up, and they recorded this Tic Tac video. It looks like the UFO looks like the shape of a Tic Tac, a lot bigger, obviously. And he said it was like playing games with them, that it would know where they were going before they knew. It was like playing cat and mouse with them. Apparently, it just flew right down in the ocean, and it was like hanging out with them for a week. And so they're at this congressional hearing. And then like the big bombshell was like, hey, U.S. government, yes, they know about it. Yes, they've recovered it. Some of them are ancient. Some of them are a lot newer. And we have the bodies. Crazy, right?
Yeah.
So
but they denied all of it, right?
They're slowly coming out now that they have all this. Like Lou Alessandro, he was in the To the Stars Academy with Tom
Yeah.
DeLonge from Blink 182 fame. I guess still a Blink 182 fame. And Lou Alessandro, he was part of the government. At first, they said he didn't exist, but now the programs that he was talking about that the government said didn't exist now are coming out that, oh, actually, they did exist. So it's like crazy stuff. David Grusch had been on this interview blitz. He was on Joe Rogan just the other day. He was on Tucker Carlson's. I don't even know. I guess he just runs a talk show on Twitter or something.
Yeah.
So he was on there. This hour-long interview. They're talking about it, and David Grusch is very well polished. He's very well spoken. It kind of comes off like, is this guy disinformation? Is any of this true? It's hard to believe. So Tucker and him are talking, and Tucker says, he's like, look, I've talked to people that know that our government is in contact with the aliens. He's like, I believe this for a fact. He's like, before 5 years ago, it said this is all crazy. Like, you're crazy for believing in UFOs. He's like, I know people who are high up, who I know, who have told me that the U.S. government is in contact with these aliens. Well, that's weird, right? There was also another clip of this in a whole Tucker Carlson recap interview. There was another clip of him earlier in the week. He was on this other interview podcast with these guys. And I guess the podcast host was more into UFOs, but Tucker was there, and there's a 2-minute clip. And it's like super interesting where Tucker's like, there's something like, I even told my wife about it. And he's like, that's like how uncomfortable I am talking about like the UFO part of it, the stuff that I've heard that I believe. That, like, he's like, she just can't handle it right now. And the other guy's like, I think I know what you're talking about. He's like, because I haven't told like my wife about it. And they're going on. And so the speculation with that, they're both getting at, kind of goes with like the government in contact with the UFOs.
Yeah.
Now there was rumors, a theory, whatever, under Eisenhower's administration that they made a deal with aliens. And the deal was aliens give us your technology, and aliens, you get to abduct some people. So that sounds kind of crazy.
I didn't
Now
even,
right.
You,
So this
how
is
do you know all this shit. Smartest person.
Most people who have this amount of free time would fill their knowledge up with like how to trade stocks or become like a billionaire overnight, how to run a great Ponzi scheme, like, start like Fry Festival 2.0 and just scam people out of. No, instead I'm in deep dives of UFOs and Bigfoot and craziness. What would Tucker and this other guy know that you would be afraid to tell your spouse because they would have a hard time handling that? So that could be either that the aliens are abducting people and the U.S. government's letting them. There's nothing you can really do about it. Like, that's kind of crazy. That the aliens are creators. Like, that's a rumor that's out there. The Anunnaki, they're called, and they came down and manipulated early man, early hominids, and made them into, more of what we are today. Where the human fossil record kind of jumps a lot of periods, and you're missing things.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, maybe someone came down.
The people they abduct are probably those people, like you get like those little like postcards in the mail to show you a kid that got like taken in 1987, and they show you what he looks like now.
Yep.
That's probably all those people. Maybe those are the people that they're taking. Or maybe this guy, David Grusch, is friends with Tiffany Gomas and Matt Gebert, and he lost his mind. And,
they're all buddies in there. So the last thing is that these aliens just suck our energy. That's like why the world is so negative all the time. That's why the news is so negative. Like, it's almost like this Monsters Inc. that like to frighten the kids gave them energy. And so that's like how you're, sucking it up and keep us in chaos. So if that was this, and this were this long, people already tuned off of this except for my hardcore fans. People are always like, what the hell's going on here? I'm never getting invited on their barbecue again. Like, that's fine. Damar Hamlin, though, so if the Freemasons were aware of this ritual and this gets everyone's attention onto it and all of this, everyone's feeding into this attention at this scene, is that energy and attention being absorbed possibly by these aliens. Dude, nuts. I did not know how you were tying this back in, because you went right into that story. I was like, oh, wow, we're going to turn back to the Damar Hamlin. Yeah. Well, sucked it back in. So that would be something. If I think they're all in some of the world I dabble in, there are some of the things that you'd be afraid probably to tell your spouse. Like, every emotion that you have is being sucked up, at least in some part, by this outer space being that they use for energy.
Well, you really think aliens are the one? I don't think it's aliens sucking up our feelings and emotions. I think the internet has caused all that technology, which, like what you just said, might have been given to us from the aliens. So the internet, the world, everybody's seeing what's this world coming to? The world is keeps getting worse and worse. The world's not getting worse and worse. The world is just, people are now able to see and hear all the shit that goes on in the world within a minute of when it happened, not even a minute, within seconds of it happening. So back before all this technology existed, shit could go on and you wouldn't even hear about it at all, ever, possibly. Now nothing can happen without everyone, and everybody has their goddamn opinion of it. And everybody spreads their opinions, and that's where the negativity comes. And then you get people just fighting and commenting over everything. Everybody's got to have something. I was watching the Real Time with Bill Maher talking about how no one basically is allowed to be happy about anything, because he was saying how, who's that big? I can't remember. Mr. Beast.
Yep.
Mr. Beast.
He built all these water wells in Africa.
Right. And Bill Maher, he was talking about that specifically. He's just like, and he did other things too. And Bill Maher was making the joke. I actually have it saved. I can send you the clip of this, but he was just making the joke how but there's people that rip him for this. He's just like, they're all saying, oh, he's just trying to get political. He just wants you to send him money. So, and Bill Maher's like, yeah. He's like, well, what the fuck have you done? He's just like, this guy, he has more money than anything he can do with. And he's just showing what he's done. And there are people that do stuff just for the publicity of it more than the caring act of it. He's like, but why can't we just be happy with he's doing what he did is amazing. The shit that he's doing out there. And he's changing people's lives. Like, I'm sure the people aren't mad that he's making a couple, bucks or getting some followers for building them wells and all this crap. But there's just things like these people that, because he hates all the woke shit. He despises all of it. So he was just, and it was have you ever watched this show before?
Bill Maher?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's turned a corner recently. Now he's against all this stuff. And
I think
So
great. He does the new rules thing that he has at the end of his, this was he went off for 15 minutes about it. It was funny too. I was laughing at it, but he makes fun of all kinds of stuff like this. But it's true. I mean, the world is to the emotions. No one's allowed to feel a way, say anything without it being criticized one way or another. Someone that thinks there's always a negative spin on everything, no matter what you do.
Like, I don't need to hear how LeBron made another $1 million. Like, at some point, like, it's just becoming bragging. But if you did something awesome, you should be able to tell people about hey, I built all these wells, or get involved too. The more I can fundraise and the more it's then who cares?
What do they want him to do? He could keep that money for himself and
right. He's getting money through views and clicks and advertisements. So if you're watching it, all you're doing is just helping drive that, which is, so people are upset because they're like, oh, the savior complex, they can't go save themselves and build their own wells. Well, they haven't done it for 100 years or whatever. They obviously need somebody to come and at least set up a plan for them. And everybody who he did it for was super happy at the end of it, that they had, they were getting, I don't know everything you get from drinking dirty water, dysentery, you're getting worms and bugs and stuff in your body. And here he is just helping people clean water. These people were washing their clothes and getting cooking water out of the same source of water that animals were pooping in, and the people were throwing their poop in. This is not. Yeah. And
I even looked at it too. I'm weird. I used to do landscaping. There's this one page on my Facebook page. This guy, all he literally does is, it's like a makeover show. He'll pull up to a house that looks like total shit, and he just gets out and cuts the grass, landscapes it all for free for these people that just can't pay for a thing. And he's you guys watching my video makes it possible for me to do work like this. On the own page, I went on there just to kind of prove Bill Maher's point, and sure enough, there's people criticizing. He's like, nobody should watch these videos. He's like, this takes away from the landscapers out there really trying to make a living. I was just well, the case in this story is the guy's lawn's crazy because he can't afford to pay those landscaping people. This guy's going out there. He spent all day, and that's what it's in. No one can do anything without someone criticizing it.
Is this
you can't even be nice.
The same guy, and he's teaching the kids how to mow lawns?
No, this is just a straight up. He does power washing and just total landscaping straight up for people. He drives around neighborhoods, finds the worst house, and then just knocks on their door and says he's going to do it for free.
Yeah, there's this black gentleman that would do similar to that, and he was going around, and he really didn't have politics involved in or anything, and I think people kind of made him political, but he would just go to the worst houses and start mowing a lawn, and he was kind of take care of your own backyard before you can fix the world type of thing. And then he was encouraging kids. He's like, hey kids, I'm sponsored by Ryobi, whoever, somebody was sponsored. And I was like, hey, sign up here. And he was giving away whole lawn mowing kits that you would have edgers and all this stuff, and then getting kids and empowering them and just showing up in some of the worst neighborhoods, high on crime. And hey, let's just clean this. Yeah, they were like, oh, I can't believe this. I can't believe he probably votes for somebody. And it's like, dude, like, stop complaining. This is you talked about this with social media. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. But we weren't meant to have our opinion heard by 10,000, a million, 8 billion people. And people are on Facebook and they just spout the worst ideas in the whole world and then think they should be able to say these things. This goes back to this Matt Gebert and like, you should not have a platform to speak these things.
Right. Yeah. None of your friends.
None of my friends. They're off. This is it. Yeah. So that's crazy. David Grusch, anyway, he says the U.S. has UFOs.
What do you think? I'm going to look more. That's crazy. I mean, I believe in aliens. So, I mean, it's crazy to think as big of a galaxy and everything that's out there that we're the only people, or I should say life, any sign of life. I think it's crazy to think that we're the only ones. So I think it's cool stuff. I wish they would just talk about it. But if they're abducting people and shit like that, that's scary. I can see why you're not going to tell everybody that. But that's kind of crazy. If any of that's true, that Eisenhower shit you said, like that's nuts.
Yeah, that's really been a rumor for a long time and a folklore within the UFO community. And now for them coming out, it would just have to be what is so concerning. Like it's obviously something dark that you have to talk about. And so dark, we went over the couple scenarios that I think it could be. Or that we're just like the zoo animals.
Yeah.
And like actually none of the shit matters. And we're only here to entertain these people. We're on season 2024 of Earth coming up.
It's I didn't know all that stuff with I mean, I heard about the guy with the claims of having the ships and the pilots and stuff, but I didn't know anything about that theory thing. That's nuts.
I'll send you some rabbit hole stuff you can go down into.
Yeah. You know what I wanted to point out to you with something to jump topics, if you don't mind. You sent me the list of the best music from 1999 when we graduated high school, 2003 we graduated college, and then now. On the first two lists, 99 and 2000, I know every single song. I've at least heard of it. I know all the artists. I'm not lying to you. In today's music, I recognized out of all, and there's 100 songs. Yeah, I recognized two names, which was like Bad Bunny and Olivia Rodrigo. I don't know the songs. I don't know one song. I don't know any of them.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up here. I went through, and hey, whatever. I'm old now. The music's not really made for me currently. I went through, and there was not one song that I would intentionally play to hear. If I never heard one of these songs again.
In today's music? Or?
Today, in 2023. There was not one song that I would be sad that I could never listen to ever again. The song, this is from one of them. This is from Pitchfork. It was a top 100 songs. Number 1 was Lana Del Rey, A&W. I've heard of her. No idea what it is.
Never heard of
Number
it.
2,
Her or it.
Pink Pantheress and Ice Spice. I don't know.
Yeah,
never.
We're old.
Yeah.
But then I look at, where is it?
Man, number 5, Olivia Rodrigo. My daughter likes her.
Yeah, I've heard of her. She was on Saturday Night Live. She was I know that because I saw a commercial. But yeah, I mean, I know every single person on 1999's list. I can't believe Cher was number 1 with Believe. Livin' La Vida Loca. Can't believe how many of these songs I actually like.
The 99 list I was going through, and I was like, I still listen to a bunch of this stuff. Not Cher and Ricky Martin, but there was some stuff on there like, hey, that's not too bad. Yeah, Cher is number 1. TLC, No Scrubs. No, Wikipedia, I do not want to donate to you. So Sugar Ray, Every Morning.
Yeah, that was a good song.
So I saw Sugar Ray in concert. I liked House of Pain in the 90s, but I was just too young to see them when they were there. Then they broke up, and Everlast came out with Whitey Ford Sings the Blues. So he went and he was playing at the TLA, but this was before his album came out. So What It's Like was already on the radio, right? And that kind of had like that country it wasn't rap, so whatever. So not bad, right? So I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go see him. And Sugar Ray's opening up. And this is before Every Morning came out. Dude, they played like speed metal. Like they just like speed punk, or like it was super fast the whole time. And I was like, dude, like if you guys stuck to this would be awesome. And then they got into like the chick music or whatever. And I was like, I can pass on this. And then Everlast completely, he played a country-ish rock version of Jump Around. And that was maybe, whatever, the concert was $20 or whatever. But hey, in 97, whenever I went, that was $20 is a lot. And I was like, well, that was $20, not that much.
Right. I was surprised too, like, because you always heard like growing up, like people like my dad didn't know Britney Spears and all that kind of stuff. but I literally don't know. And I think too, there's so artists just coming with now with social media again. You know, you can just put out a song and become popular like instantly. Where before, to get recognized, it took a lot more than it does now. But it's just insane. I couldn't believe that. I could not. The only person I recognized was Bad Bunny and Olivia Rodrigo. Besides that, I didn't know. I'm sure I didn't go through the entire. I'm sure there's like some Billie Eilish. I know her. I'd say him. And who's the other guy? Post Malone. There's some Post Malone songs. I think that they're not that bad. But
Post Malone has a great interview on Rogan, and he likes aliens and stuff like that.
should have him on the show. Then. He looks like a goddamn alien.
So then I heard Post Malone's working on a country album. That's what's coming out next. Is he's
Really?
in country? Yeah. That Jelly Roll guy. Lord, I need a prayer or something, or I need a favor. I need a favor on I don't know, but he's on every station. So he was country. He's a big guy, tattoos all over his face, but he's crossed over to be like every platform. So kind of like Post Malone, where he has tattoos all over his face, but Post Malone lost a lot of weight. This guy's like super, super big, and but it's like this country crossover type of rock thing that also gets like the Q102 type of play. And I guess that's what Post is going to go for. That like all you're going to do is just get more fans that way.
Yeah.
So for music now, like I'll listen to like I guess 104.5 is the closest to what I would like to listen to. You know, but then like mix in a little 102.9 or 93.3. But even then, like stuff comes on. Either I'll have on WIP, a podcast, or this Amazon playlist that I've made of 240 songs. That's all I want to hear is like those 240 songs for the rest of my life.
Yeah, I'm pretty much just sports talk in the car. Occasionally, well, when my daughter's in the car, I have to listen to All I Want for Christmas Is You on repeat. So nonstop.
Right, Gary, man, just making hand over fist dollars. Then I saw these guys are suing her because apparently they made this song before she did. If it takes you 20 years to get a lawsuit in, I don't think you made that song.
Right. Yeah, a little too late on that one.
Yeah, like that should just go.
So let's see what else you got in here. Oh, where's the shows? Are you a TV show guy?
No.
I'll say this. What do you have like a top 5 shows that you've ever watched? So I watched some of the best shows they say on here, but I haven't seen most of them.
So on here, I don't think I watched one show that was on here. The shows that I do like, The Sopranos was great. Breaking Bad was great. Lost started off as a great idea, a great concept, the first season or two, and like it started going downhill. The Walking Dead, I like that concept. That went downhill.
Fear the Walking Dead. Too much of the same shit. I watched it, but then it's like, all right, like just solve it or whatever. I don't even know how it ended, but
yeah, I gave up on it at some point. I've talked to some other guys about this on this podcast, guys, independent filmmakers and everything. And we kind of go on these rants about this. Like I had no idea what a showrunner was until, I guess more recently, but they're the person who's like actually directing the direction of the show. So when Lost comes out, I think after season 2, they switched the showrunner. So this isn't, you're not presenting season 1 through 5 to the network and like, hey, a plane goes missing. They end up on desert island. Maybe it's purgatory. Maybe it's another dimension. Maybe it's whatever. We have like polar bears coming out. We have, bunkers and people all connected in weird ways. And then it's going to happen this, and it's going to end up, whatever it ends up being. I'm not even fully sure how Lost ended. It lost its way. But then a new showrunner comes in and they're like, I want to stop going in that direction. We're going to make a hard right and go here. And like, it really throws the show off. It would be nice, and hey, this is idealistic though, of present the show to the network of like, hey, these are the 5 seasons we're going to do, and this is how it ends, and we're letting it go. But unfortunately for a lot of these people, it may be the only big paycheck they ever see, and they're just going to keep milking this thing as long as the network keeps signing off on it.
Well, I think too, it's like it's hard to have a whole 5 seasons done right away too, and so like you can have the idea, and then if it kicks, like it takes off, then that's when they expand on the story. That's why. So my favorite show of all time is Breaking Bad, and then The Sopranos. But there's other shows I like The Wire, and there's lots of shows I watch a bunch of shit. But why I think Breaking Bad is the best is because from beginning to end, it's just good. There's not that you can sometimes see like sometimes shows just go too long. Like you should have like Walking Dead, like way too long. You just got to end it. Breaking Bad, I think, was perfect with that. Sopranos was good too, but everybody hated The Sopranos ending. After watching, I watched the series again. Now I actually like the ending. So it kind of went up on my book. But Game of Thrones, I liked Game of Thrones a lot. Hated the ending. So
Game of Thrones lost me. I watched 2 seasons of that. There were a lot of things in Game of Thrones that like would keep my attention at first. And then I was like, I'm not sticking around just to watch this for the nonsense of her birthing dragons in the fire. Like that really lost me. you present your reality to be in the show, and I'm willing to follow whatever you have. But once I was like,
So you stopped watching and then started looking up alien stuff.
then I went right into that, and that was it. Yeah. But The Wire is a show that I tried getting into. It's usually in people's top 5, and it was so painful for me to get through. And people are like, oh, you have to give it like 2 seasons, and it really picks up. Then, like, I don't have any episodes.
I like this.
Yeah, I'll have to get back into it and see what happens.
You won't.
No, I won't. I hardly watch movies anymore. Like if Casey wants to put something on to watch, like I really don't fight too much with it. And it's like really whatever you want. I might end my phone halfway through. I might just space out
a lot
and
of true crime stuff. Jamie likes true crime stuff and like documentaries, so we watch that stuff. Thankfully, I mean, she's a perfect girl for me because like she's not a big TV person, so like I know a lot of couples like they have their shows that they watch together. And like if I had Jamie falls asleep after like 5-10 minutes, whatever we're watching. So like an hour episode takes us, about a week and a half to finish. So like I get to watch my own shows, but she big on the true crime stuff. There's a lot of good documentaries on Netflix about like that Murdaugh trial. You heard about the Alex Murdaugh?
Yeah.
Yeah, that stuff. There's a good documentary on that. So, but I think it's funny too when people say like, oh, they complain about how long movies are, but then they'll binge watch these shows, which is just hours upon hours upon hours of stuff. It's like, then just don't watch the movie in parts then. Like, if you want to watch the whole damn thing, watch it in episodes. These people complain that, what's that new movie out with Julia Roberts?
The End of the World one that just came out?
Yeah. That one. People were talking about, it was actually, they're saying like the movie's so long. It was only 2 hours and like 20 minutes or something like that. Someone was complaining about how long it was. And then they said, did you watch that movie?
I didn't watch that one yet, no.
No. Supposedly people are complaining about the ending. They have all their own interpretations on. Well, I'm getting sidetracked with that. It's crazy to me that like they're like, well, they legitimately said that they didn't want to watch the movie anymore, so they went back and just started watching a series that they were watching because they said the movie was taking too long. But then they go back and watch it.
It's boring, I get that. Like maybe you should have trimmed some fat to get the movie to be more interesting. Like I'm on board.
I mean, that's what you
maybe should have been an hour 50 instead of 220.
Yeah,
like
probably.
Like so Lord of the Rings, I saw all of those in the theater.
Never saw
the first one. No, I thought they were a pretty good series. And if you like Game of Thrones, it's the same concept.
Probably, I would like it.
Yeah, but he made the trilogy originally, and you watch the first one, and it kind of comes to an ending. Like they're going on like another adventure, or they complete like the first part to go. But that's fine. But in the middle, it picked up where the first one left off, and it ended where the third one would pick. It truly was just the middle of a movie. And like that was like what are you doing here? But then you realize like the guy just took a 9-hour movie and broke up into 3, 3, and 3.
Yeah, what a money cow that thing was. That and Harry Potter.
Oh, Harry Potter, yeah. I feel like I feel like I saw those movies. I don't know. But yeah.
I saw a couple of them. I just wish I could fall into something like that where it's crazy too. This dumb shit that goes through my mind. There was a ad I saw. But I was thinking, so I was on Facebook just talking about, the amounts of money people make doing these things. And there was a buddy of mine who actually was a buddy of a guy I went to college with. He after college, started his own ice company. Just
like Sea Isle ice cubes, like ice cubes?
Yeah, ice cubes.
Yeah. Okay.
What I found just amazing to me. So like,
I know if he meant meth or diamonds. I was just confused at first.
No, just regular ice cubes.
Ice cubes. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Make your drinks cold.
Yep.
He goes to college, and he's successful as hell. But like, and you're done with your college and everything, you're thinking about what you want to do with your life, and you're thinking your big venture is going to be ice. Like, it's ice. I couldn't believe the fact that he came up with like all like most people like entrepreneurs want to start like something new with that. This is ice, and now he's a millionaire for just bringing ice. It's not even the Sea Isle Ice. I forget the name of his company too, but he's like, it's just crazy to me how someone can now be rich from ice and just selling it. Like he went to school, did everything the right way, and he's rich for ice.
The entrepreneurs are people who tell you in business, the best thing to do is not to invent a new product. Like that's too hard to do, but to improve upon an existing product. So you see something that's already out there.
How do you improve ice?
And then fix it. So who is he selling ice to that didn't have ice before? It's just like rock bottom prices. Right.
So his post wasn't about like, his journey of ice. I wouldn't have even read anything. The fucking worst story ever.
I would have been in for like 9 hours, but I'm in. Let's hear about this ice.
Yeah. But it was just like they were showing him, and then like I said, it was like, wow, it's like because I met the guy before, but just in passing, and he's just like, oh no, man, he's killing it with his ice company. I was just like, really? He's like, oh yeah, dude, people need ice. I was like, I know, but like, it's not like you couldn't get it before. Like
That's where I'm confused. Like, where are you? Like, is this like the dollar stores? Maybe you broke into like a Dollar Tree and you're selling to all them,
right? That's what
and
I
you
don't get.
undercut.
Like, what's your marketing for ice, and what's your like? Yeah, it was baffling to me. I did
I
not get it.
need to talk to this guy to see if I can sit through like one of his board meetings. Like, oh, the price per square inch of ice is 0.001 cents. I'm like, we can get this down. You know, this is
Yes.
yeah.
I just went to school all the time, and he's rich from ice. It's crazy.
Yeah, I'm confused. That's I'd be interested in.
The next show we can talk about ice.
Yeah. At first, I was like,
Evidently,
hey, maybe if the guy's selling meth, I'm like, hey, but well, why not? There's a market for
Walter
this.
White, yeah.
Yeah, there's different things you can do for this. So I want to bring up two, since we're in random ideas here, I want to bring up two random ideas for you.
Okay.
I have two things. Do you go shopping? Do you like go to the grocery store or Target or anything?
Yeah.
Yep. What do you do with your shopping cart? What do you push it? Like you stand behind it and walk with it?
Yeah. I'm a normal person.
Or do you drag it?
No, I'm a normal person. I push
Yeah.
it.
So you use your inertia of you walking and pushes this thing on four wheels and makes it go a lot easier.
Right. There's people
Have you
that pull
seen
them.
these people drag, like
No.
go to the grocery store?
It's funny
You
when
know,
I saw you had the shopping carts topic. I thought it was going to be if you like return your shopping cart through the shopping cart thing.
now there's cart narcs. There's people who like confront people in the parking lot of like, sir, you need to return this. I think they have it covered.
Yeah.
The psychopaths. I need to understand. I don't get it. People drag their cart with it behind them and they kind of walk next to it. So like an aisle at a grocery
Yeah.
store is kind of meant for two carts to pass by. Like you're
Yeah.
driving on a road. This
It also
person's
seems
taking
like
up.
it's more uncomfortable to drag it.
It's
Like I
harder.
like the cart. You can lean on it. You can kind of depending how big. Target has the best shopping carts in my opinion. They're real
Drink
high.
holder, high drink holder. Usually it's a little phone thing. You can put your phone there if you have like your list or whatever it is, or you know whatever it might be. Like it has gadgets for you to do it, and people drag this behind them as they walk next to it.
I hate it. Maybe I just haven't noticed because I like to block out horrible things.
You're going to see this now. This should be a crime. Like I think people should go to jail for years till they change their behavior. This is the Draymond Green level of you're ruining shopping experiences.
No, yeah, I haven't seen it. Actually, well, so I was at BJ's yesterday and I saw a guy. He was pushing one, and he had so much shit. He was pushing one with one hand, and dragging it the other one, which makes sense.
He had too much. I get that.
Yeah. So
they give you that sled at BJ's, like you're supposed to fill that sled up, and I'm like, well, that makes it like shit's gonna fall off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't get that. The dragging. So next time you're at the store, you're gonna see it, and like and then the look of confusion the person has at me as they're dragging it in one lane and then standing in my lane and like walking at me, and then my still driving at them, and I'm like, you got to fucking move, man. Like this isn't. You don't get the whole. I'm not gonna stop my shopping so you can do your bullshit. Like this is insanity.
I hate when people stop their cart right in the middle of the aisle when they're looking at.
They leave it like the Instacart. Ever since COVID, there's all these Instacart people everywhere, and you would think that they would just know where everything is in the store, but they just they push it, ghost ride it down wherever it stops, and go pick up stuff. There's like this abandoned cart sideways. Now, I try to keep people in line. I aggressively try to keep people in line. Sometimes they need their cart bumped, or they need me like driving at them as they're kneeling down, studying like what can of beans they want as their cart's taking. Like you guys just, you need to. We live in a society, right? Isn't there a movie like We Live in a Society? It's like Batman or whatever, right? People need to fix their behavior, man, and sometimes they need me to encourage them to fix it.
Hopefully they're listening. So all these cart draggers.
A bunch of cart draggers, man. Once you see these cart draggers, there has to be a mental disorder. It has to be.
I think I've maybe have seen one, but I didn't think like maybe it was just they were doing it the whole time. Maybe I thought it was just an instance where they were just pulling it for. That's stupid though. So you've seen this enough to hate it and have it.
So this isn't like I'm the perfect shopper, but like I'm food shopping. There are times where, you know, like whatever, I might have to go get mac and cheese or something. If like Logan's with me, I'm like, hey bud, you watch the cart, you stand here, and then I get him in the front. Maybe I'll drag it up to me until I get behind it again. I get that. Yeah. There are people who spend their entire shopping experience dragging the cart behind them in how they're going.
Yeah. That's dumb.
It's more work.
It's horrible.
Yeah. Like, that's not how it was designed. Like, yeah, I need to get to the bottom of this.
In your topic list here, what do you have about comedy club covers?
So this is a brilliant idea.
Oh,
You go, like, there's I'm trying to think so Badfish, Sublime cover band. They're relatively famous and they tour. But there's like Journey cover bands. My sister's friend, he does a Tom Petty and Bruce Springsteen cover band. I forget what he calls it. But it's like it has like a compete off between Bruce Springsteen and Tom Petty stuff. So you go to these bars, you go to these venues to see someone playing the music of someone else. Like, you're intentionally going to see a cover band of Queen, of Journey, of whoever it might be, right?
yeah.
Why don't you have, so maybe there's a stand-up comedian who doesn't have their tight 30. Maybe they don't have enough for 30. And they definitely have enough for a 60-minute show to do. And they're trying to break in. Well, I want to go see Eddie Murphy Raw. I want to go see the Dice Man, Hickory Dickory Dock. Oh, I need to go see this.
Right.
Right? But I'm not going to go put on the VHS, the Blu-ray, whatever it might be. This person would go to the comedy club and just do beat by beat. He would do Raw from beginning to end.
Like
and
a performance more than
a performance. So this would be the performance. You're going to go see, I'm going to go see Eddie Murphy Raw tonight. I'm going to go see Andrew Dice Clay. I'm going to go see Chappelle. But like, not them. You're going to go see their greatest hits. Like, Chappelle's not doing the baby selling drugs in the corner anymore. Like, that was from 2000. Like, that skit's over. So, but I missed it. Like, I didn't get to go to the club to go see that.
That's a decent idea. I was thinking, when I said comedy club covers, I thought you were talking about like the money you paid to go.
$10.
Yeah.
But now you pay, you could charge a little more. Like, if it's just me, like, hey man, I have 30 minutes and I ran out helium tonight. Like, people aren't going to give me a ton of money to come see me yet.
Yeah.
But if I was like, hey, I'm doing Eddie Murphy Raw.
But I think in some cases too, so I guess obviously there's better cover bands and other cover bands that play it better than others would. But a lot of comedy is in the delivery of it, which some people, you can just get somebody up there just reading a script. It's not going to be funny, but you got to act it. But that's where there would be better comedians than other comedians at it. But that's not a bad idea.
Right. Like, the market would work that out. Like, maybe I want a Gaslight Anthem cover band, right? That's the music I want to go listen to. But I play 0 instruments and I can't sing. So the bar would not book me a second time when they're like, or they, like, during my audition, they'd be like, wait, you suck. Like, why would we give you any money to come play here? So Helium or whoever it might be, or you go rent out, the Scottish Rite Theater in Collingswood, whatever it might be. Like, obviously, I assume they have auditions or something for you. You come up there and you're doing, baby, stop selling drugs in the corner.
That's a very that's a decent idea. I think you got something there. That's not a bad idea.
Not bad, right?
Yeah. So, because even if you're not funny, you can maybe be good at mimicking somebody. So
right. It's already there. You saw how it's delivered. This isn't like your spin on it. This is like the lyrics are there, the joke's there, it's written. You sing, you say what's said. And then maybe you want to do a little cover band in between to get people as you go change out of your full red leather outfit and put on, whatever you're doing to do your 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, no, that's you got a good idea there. I think that's not bad.
Not bad, right?
If you want to try out some of your own shit too, you could, do Raw and then throw some of be like, okay, now this is me, and then nobody will laugh. But you can try out your own shit.
Maybe that's your halftime. You have the guy doing the cover, then you come out in halftime and then do your 15 minutes, then people will stay for the other half of Raw.
Look at you.
This isn't bad, right? And there's no copyright because you don't have to worry about copyright. I guess if you were selling your DVD afterwards, you'd have to worry about that. But even then, you can sing any song you want live. Like Pearl Jam covers Last Kiss. Like, they're not paying whatever. They're not paying that guy money because you're singing live. You're allowed to do that live. So your performance would be okay. You'd be covered by copyright.
Yeah, that's actually a really good idea. Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Last Kiss may have been, I think, J. Frank Wilson, actually. Sorry to Turner, whoever just made up.
Sorry.
All right, man. Let's do some celebs that died.
Yeah, so I saw you picked some. You missed a lot too, but I'm sure I'm guessing you picked the ones you picked for a reason. There's other people that died, right?
There were a lot of people that died. 2023, big year. People dying. People die every year.
Who do you think the biggest one in your?
Who was I most sad to see die? I would have to. So out of that, Jimmy Buffett, 76 years old.
Yeah,
I Parrot Head saw Buffett numerous times, many years in a row. But at the same time, he's 76. Like that's kind of young to
Yeah.
die, but also kind of old to start keep performing. So his time of me seeing him was going to be limited. But Buffett dying,
Yeah.
that was a rough one. Bob Barker, classic, growing up, Price is Right.
I mean, I thought he was dead. I mean,
This is sad for you all over again. Like, I thought I mourned him. This is
let's say so Matthew Perry, obviously, he was very sad because he was young still. But what I was surprised that you put so Burt Young, Paulie from Rocky.
Paulie, real quick. 36 years old in Rocky. Rocky
That's what I
1.
was
He is
just going to say. That's
36
crazy
years
to
old.
me. I do that all the time. I look at these movies I loved growing up, and then I look at the age of these people. Like Bruce Willis was 33 in Die Hard.
He
Like we're
seemed
like,
older in that.
I know. That's
Yeah.
what I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I know. He was only 33. Like we're almost 10 years older than he was in Die Hard. I mean, we couldn't do Die Hard now.
No,
I
I'd
wouldn't
be winded
fit
and
in the air.
stuck.
I wouldn't be able to fit in the air vent.
I'm halfway in the air vent. I'm like, get me out.
Yeah, I would have died, and he would have shot one bullet right through the thing. The whole movie would have been over. Credits would
You
have
just
just
hear
rolled.
you wheezing. I'm like, just quiet. Listen to him wheezing up there. I'm allergic to dust, man. Please, I need an Allegra.
Commented, I can't believe he was 36 in Rocky.
I just watched Rocky 1 and 2 last week, halfway through 3. Paulie is old.
Yeah.
Like, and angry and miserable and all this stuff. And hey, I don't work in a meat packing facility and I'm not dealing with, the stinks rock, the stinks. But it's crazy. I get the makeup and I get all this stuff that you're doing. Dude, he was an old 36, man.
He was. I thought you didn't have it on your list, but I thought Tom Sizemore, he was in a ton of movies growing up. He was in Heat. It was a good movie. Point Break. You remember
Tom Sizemore was in Point Break? Of course I remember Point Break. I didn't realize Tom Sizemore was in that.
Yeah, he's what's his name? When Johnny Utah, he comes to the house, they think that they have what do you call it? What is their name? I know the ex-presidents.
Ex-presidents.
Yeah, he thinks that he's at their house, they're at the wrong house, and Tom Sizemore was the undercover guy who was trying to work, but then they come in and fuck it all up.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I've been working on these guys for 3 months. Like, he's like, you guys come in here. And yeah, so that was him. He was in a bunch of shit, like Pearl Harbor, Black Hawk Down. He was a good actor. Tina Turner died.
Tina Turner, I saw that. So this list that I was going on, like, just kept going and going and going. And Tina Turner is huge, but she also didn't have that much of an impact in my life. She had the 92 Olympics, like had like a Coke commercial that she was in. I remember getting like the Coca-Cola CD for the Olympics, and I forget what the song was. But like, I don't know if
Sinead O'Connor was more to you than Tina Turner.
So Sinead O'Connor, what I heard, Nothing Compares to You. They had
Prince wrote that.
Oh, dude. So Chris Cornell does this acoustic cover, and it's just fantastic. Another person who passed away, but we weren't doing that show for him. So Sinead O'Connor, her passing away herself, 56. I don't know how old I expected her to be, but maybe that's how young she was when she first came out.
Yeah.
Like if I'm thinking 1990, that's 32 years ago. So she was 24 doing Nothing Compares to You. But I was 10, so I didn't really have much of a idea of what people looked like as they were older. Yeah, Tina Turner dying. I think all the references, Biggie being like, and like Ike beat Tina. And I was like, well, do I really want that to be my reference of Tina Turner of spousal abuse?
Yeah, Iron Sheik. I loved wrestling when I was a kid. Jerry Springer. That was a sad one.
So Richard Mole, Night Court, I think is a criminally underrated, and it's about court. There you go. Criminally underrated TV show.
Never watched it. Never watched Night Court.
Marky Post.
I knew of the show. I just never watched it.
Yeah.
I liked Cheers.
And Richard Mole is this, I got to be at least like 6'6", bald guy.
Yeah.
He's like your Scott Van Pelt of actors. Even Suzanne Summers, I was going to skip her. I know like Three's Company. Maybe I saw an episode or two.
Step was a good show.
But then with Step by Step, I forgot about that, and I was like, oh, Step by Step. I was like, yeah, that was the mom in Step by Step. But 77 years old, that was a good run for her.
Pee Wee Herman, 70.
Pee Wee Herman, tough. And what a bad break to get.
Jerking off in the movie theater.
Yeah, like if the internet was just around for then, like none of this would have happened. No, he got busted for doing like sexual acts, and I guess that is a sexual act on yourself. But like, he didn't get busted with another person. Eddie Murphy got busted with like picking up a streetwalker in the 90s. I was fine. Hugh Grant got picked.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, but Hugh Grant got busted, and those guys didn't lose their careers. But then Paul
They're
Rubens,
coming out with Beverly Hills Cop again. You see that?
the fourth one,
Yeah.
Axel F.
Yeah.
Yeah. The first two were awesome. The third one, I think I only saw it
Yeah.
once. But I'm excited. Hopefully, for the fourth one, they do it right.
Yeah.
Eddie
Yeah.
Murphy disappearing for like 20 years. I guess he did Donkey or whatever, but that doesn't really count. But the guy was like the height of his fame and kind of just walked off.
I don't blame him. He has more money than God. Why do anything?
Yeah, that's true.
Enjoy life.
So there's
The other names I jotted down that people that died were Jim Brown, Tony Bennett, Raquel Welch. I give her credit because she's in one of my favorite movies is The Shawshank Redemption. She's the poster that he digs the hole behind. And in the end, he's got a few posters, but at the end, that's the one. Lisa Marie Presley, Rosalind Carter, but that was coming with that. She was the oldest. How old is she? She was like 100 and something.
I think she was really up there. Jimmy Carter is very old as well, and doing God's work out there. But yeah, tough stuff, man. It's the thing I hate the most, that especially about social media, when somebody's going to die within the next week or two, and they're going to be like, "Oh, 2023, why can't you just end?" Like 2023 killed the person, and then in 2024, someone's going to die early, and they're going to be early in the year. And then they're going to be like, "Oh, 2024, why'd you do this to us?" You see like all this big blow up. And yes, 2024 murdered this person. That's what they did.
Yeah. I think last year there was a string of people that died that for me, it was like all like mafia people, like in the mafia movies. It was like Ray Liotta, Paulie
He was young.
Walnuts,
What did he die? What was his
Ray
diagnosis?
Liotta?
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? I don't even remember what it was.
Yeah,
I don't know. It was him, Paulie Walnuts, Sonny Corleone, James Caan, and Paul Sorvino. All those guys, all mafia guys died last year.
Yeah, not a good year. 2022 put a hit on him. And I think Betty White died maybe New Year's Eve or something, and she was going to hit 100 or.
Oh yeah, that was
she
weird.
Died just shy of it.
Have you ever done a death pool?
I have not done a death pool. But if I was to bet on some of the people that would die, and I'm looking at even just the people I wrote down right now,
yeah,
I don't think I would ever win any of these.
Well, the death pool, how the scoring works is like it's all based off 100. So it's the difference of that to 100. So if you had Bob Barker, you would only gotten 1 point. So like
I would pick him. Yeah.
Matthew Perry would have been the way to go. But a lot of people pick Bam Margera because they just feel like that guy's off the rails and he's going to die soon. It's kind of sad that that's an actual thing, death pools, but they're you never know.
I said Britney Spears probably for a few years, but you're also rooting for somebody to die who's like 40, but then she's also had so many issues and stuff. But Bam, I just saw a clip of him.
He's doing better, evidently.
He just had boxing gloves on, and so these guys are trying to reenact Jackass or something. So this little film crew, and this guy's sitting down in a chair, and he wanted Bam to do this, but Bam walked up from behind and just cold cocked him, and the guy was not excited.
So I've heard he's doing better. He was off the rails for a while. He was all drugged and fucked up. Maybe he's back to normal. I mean, that's the shit he was doing beforehand. But
yeah, I hope he is. I saw whatever. I think he's finally allowed to see his kid again or something. Like that stuff's tough. But then also, if you're going to keep doing like all that Steve-O stuff, like that's not good for your body, man. Like you need to medicate somehow. So like it's easy to see how they get involved in drugs and alcohol. Too. Yeah, but so that was good that he was able to do that. And I think he's a little older than Bam. Like Bam was
I met
young when he
started actually. I met Steve-O Panama City when we were on spring break once. I didn't even know I was talking to him. I was like, there was a big line at this outdoor bar that we were at, and my buddy was getting the drinks, and I just went out and like leaning over this like fence, looking out into the ocean. And there was another guy. He just had a towel over his head and all this kind of stuff too. And I was just bullshitting with him, just not really looking directly at him, so I didn't know. But then he's like, "All right, buddy." Well, he's like, "I'll see you later," and hits me on the arm, and he walks and he takes the towel, and he has that big ass tattoo of himself on his back. Yeah. And then he went up on the stage, and I was like, "Holy fuck!" I didn't know I was talking to him, but I was. But I mean, in the 4 seconds that I talked to him, nice guy.
That was probably one of his more enjoyable conversations where people just aren't like bringing up like your greatest.
I think that changed his life. I think that's when he decided to get sober.
He got sober. He's like, I am not going to snort this hot sauce and put lime juice in my eye and rub salt into my wound.
I think he's a maniac. He funneled a beer up his ass. That was interesting.
Have you seen this guy was the Bills Eagles game and he just chugs beers? And so then I saw one, he was at the Patriots.
Oh, in like 2 seconds?
Oh, like it is faster than that. Yeah. And he's like, You put your $20 up, and if you win, you get 100. And the dude just sits
I
there.
think he just like dumps it. It's just
Dumps it right in.
Just dumping it out. Yeah, I did.
It is
see
crazy.
that.
I got stuck in that video for a little bit. Yeah, that's nuts.
It's very nuts.
All right, man. Let's cover what's to come in 2024.
Okay.
David Copperfield in February. He's going to make the moon disappear.
The only way this will impress me is if I actually go outside. It has to be live. And if I go outside and he does his trick and the moon doesn't go away, it's stupid. Like if I see it, you can't watch that on TV. I want to go outside and see the moon go away.
This is why I'm excited for this trick. Most guys for magic, aside from Mike Paulino, I'm excited for his magic. Everyone else, not too excited for their magic. I'm watching on TV. I don't know if it's real or not. I don't know the camera angles you're showing. I don't know what's being cut. I don't know what's CGI. David Copperfield made the Statue of Liberty disappear in the 90s or something. Like I was there,
that's all mirrors and shit.
Right, but I'm not there. Like I don't know. But if I can go outside in February and I'm staring at the moon and then it's fucking gone, dude, that's a great trick. That is crazy.
Well, yeah, but there's no way that can happen.
That's why I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, I guess. But is that how it's going to be, though? Is he just saying he's going to make it disappear on a television show for like just the people who are physically with him at that spot, or we go outside and we look it up and it's gone?
I don't think you can say you're going to make the moon disappear and it's only happening over New York City for the 50 people that are there. Like,
yeah, I know. Well,
that'd be like the worst trick. So I did see there was a contest that you can enter and you can go there with him to see this happen. And in this article, this is a today.com article, towards the bottom, he's been practicing this for 30 years or some crap. But he's like, oh, I'm getting a lot of reports from people like strange things happening on the moon, with the moon, strange things happening with the moon. And if you see that, please report it in, because this all has to do with my trick.
Oh, really?
Like, I guess like the moon's I don't know. I find the moon to be, besides going there, I just find the idea of the moon like sometimes like hard to wrap my head around. That like I can walk outside. I don't like the moon, but I can walk outside at 2 p.m. in the afternoon, and sometimes the moon's there. Like that's fucking weird.
It bothers you.
It does. But like, does that mean like China doesn't have the moon like over them that night? Like how come? Like I get full moons. I guess I get full moons. Like resting, whatever it is. I guess I get that concept. Fully not, because I'm still confused by the moons outside during the day. And then there's just times we have zero moon. I know that it gets real slim, then it comes back, and that's like the new, like whatever it might be, the new moon. A waxing wane.
Maybe that's gonna be. I bet David Copperfield's trick is just gonna be
a 3-hour PowerPoint presentation explaining to me how the moon works.
No, he's just gonna start at night, see the moon, and then we just sit there and wait till daytime, and it goes away.
And it's gone. Yeah,
and it's gone. This
is some of the reasons why the flat Earth is an interesting topic that you could take it a little bit further. Like if I see the moon in the middle of the day, sometimes.
I think you are
I think that it's very suspicious, some of the things that have happened. I think pictures from on the moon showing the Earth and how small it is, when I can take a picture of the moon on Earth and see how big it is completely crazy when the Earth is 4 times the size of the moon. The Earth should be dominating the moon's view into space. And here it is, this tiny little blue marble far away. And then you find out that tiny blue marble is actually a CGI composite picture on there anyway. Like it's not a real picture. Right. So like all that stuff I just find super interesting.
I don't get how we just can't get a real picture of it. So even in flat earthers, why don't you go take a picture of it then?
That's it. Well, there's a dome underneath. So I don't get into all that. I just find it interesting. Like why can you see
I get
Chicago skyline, all this stuff. But the moon is confusing to me because in the daytime you can see the moon sometimes. But at nighttime you can never see the sun sometimes.
It's on the other side of the world.
But the moon's on the other side. Aren't they opposite each other? And then as it's spinning around, and there would never be a time. Yeah. Again, this is why I'm too dumb to talk. The answer is so simple, but I'm not.
I get what you're saying, but I mean,
I'm not mentally competent enough to understand the simple answer. And I'm like, how come this is happening?
Yeah.
Yeah, I find that interesting.
Yeah. What do you say? Seems like a mixture of facts and prediction.
So this is 2024. This is from futuretimeline.net. Seems like a super reputable source. They probably quote during presidential briefings. In 2024, they said Bulgaria is going to adopt the euro. I don't know if that's a big deal or not. Good for them. But a global agreement on plastic pollution. Think we're going to get that?
Probably. I wouldn't be surprised.
So they have this guy, Boyan Slat, SLAT. He was on Rogan a few times. He has the ocean cleanup, I think it's called. So he's trying to clean up the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, which is the size of Texas, and it's a lot of floating nets and things like that. And a lot of people just say, hey, it's too big. We can't do it. We can't do it. So this kid, now he's in his 20s, but he developed this concept, this idea, and it actually is cleaning it up. And he thinks he can do it by 2040. So he goes to there's a river in India that's one of the top 5 polluters, and you just look at the river and it's just disgusting. And he's able to clean up 80% of this stuff.
Yeah.
But a lot of these people it's not a norm to throw things in the trash. I think it's the norm to throw trash out your window, and wherever it ends up, it ends up.
Yeah.
I think some of these third world countries, maybe they don't have plastic. I don't know, whatever it's going to be. I think it can be a little difficult. Now, if you're going to have a global agreement, what that means, the UN agrees to it, I guess. So we're going to have a total solar eclipse across North America. I saw that path is supposed to be everybody. Thought that'd be pretty cool.
Nice.
The first crewed flight of NASA's Orion spacecraft. I don't know where that's going, but I'm in. We can find out more if space is fake.
Going to the moon. Your favorite place.
Going to the moon, man. I'm on top of this.
Yeah.
There's a lunar mission 1 drilling into the moon's south pole. I think anything drilling into there is fascinating too. I
find all this stuff really interesting. It's just I just feel like today, with the technology that we have, all this stuff is fake bullshit. We could figure it all out if people would just go do it. I don't see why we can't get a picture of the world. I know you're saying the dome thing. I don't know why we can't get true pictures of the moon if it's real or all this shit. Why can't we just definitively get, your biggest conspiracy theorists and just get a NASA person, have them hang out, send them somewhere together and be fucking go look. Why are we just doing it?
Yeah, we need to start a TV show. We're going to get these people and bring them out.
Yeah.
Because they have some flat earth maniacs that put balloons up in the air and they go up pretty high. And they're like, hey, man, it's still the horizon's still level.
Yeah, the horizon. Yeah.
You're not seeing a curve. And they say, there was a Red Bull space jump or something. A guy took his Red Bull rocket up and jumped. And then you could see a curve there. And that's a fisheye lens that adds a curve to it. That's why you see a lot of these curves, because it's the type of lens that they're using. I don't know. Both of them sound whatever. If you're sending a rocket up, is there a flat lens you put in? Maybe they're I don't know all the lenses and cameras.
Maybe why can't we get a picture of it?
Right.
If we're talking about going to Mars itself and actually going there, why can't we just get a fucking real picture?
Because Elon Musk can't even keep rodents off of his rocket flying into space. He is part of the problem.
Give the mouse the camera and then probably teach a mouse how to take a picture.
Put a spacesuit and a GoPro on the mouse, send it up there. So it makes you why is they're showing that's a real rocket in space above the Earth, but a mouse isn't alive out there, so that's not a real rocket above Earth. Kind of makes these things all, I don't know. Why are they doing this? Source 3D printed clothes they'll get at near zero cost. My kids are dying for a 3D printer. I'm not fully sure what that means, what they think they're making out of that.
3D print your clothes. That's crazy.
They want a 3D printer. I don't know what they would make, or if they do stuff with it in school. $30 thing at Best Buy you can get. It's a 3D printer pen, and you just feed in a piece of plastic, and you can make trinkets or little small plastic animals. So that's kind of interesting to see where this goes. Now you have 3D printed clothes. That's pretty fascinating too.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Now the near zero cost is interesting because people are getting excited. Oh, free clothes. No, you'll buy your $1 million machine and be able to print $1 million worth of stuff, and it's that's going to be your near zero. Yeah,
right. So, I'd rather just buy my clothes and not have that.
We have Starlink reaches full capacity. This is Elon Musk's internet that he sends up. It's a string of lights. He put it up over Ukraine, I think, for part of the war. He has it up over Midwestern cities that have a hard time getting internet. So apparently he's going to have these all over the world, and people are going to have internet from everywhere.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so that's pretty good. And the last one that I see interesting, the first probe to fly into the sun's outer atmosphere.
Listen, I don't give a shit. I'm on the moon now.
You don't deal with the sun.
I don't fuck the sun. I see the sun. It's there. It's bright. I want to find out now for your benefit, because I feel for you.
You're dominating a lot of my life.
Yeah. We've talked about the moon so much. I want you, for your own sanity, to figure out what's going on. So no other planets until you find out about this moon. You should
I
have
don't know
somebody on
when-
your show saying why the moon is real.
I should have a moonist, a moonanite. Come on.
Yeah, maybe he'll get you to sway the other way.
They
He'll give you
had,
all-
I don't know when NASA crashed this probe into the moon, but it rang like a bell for 90 minutes. Like when they crashed into it, it made this ringing sound. So that would give the impression that the moon is hollow.
Really?
So that's interesting too. And
You
this is
know
stuff
so
like
much about the moon and you don't even believe in it.
I'm not even sure if it's there. There's people who film like ripples on the moon. Like you can see this ripple go through it, which is interesting too. A wave, a lunar wave. I don't know.
That's
There's some crazy guy who lives in like Arizona type area over there.
Matt Gibbert.
Matt Gebbert is in Arizona, but he has these satellites pointed at different planets. And according to him, like, he's talking to people on the planets. I don't know. That's crazy. That I don't believe that. But I also think like this guy's like, hey, like I'm talking to somebody on Mars. Nikola Tesla, named after Elon Musk, named the Tesla after him. He had this whole free energy thing he was trying to do, and Edison came, and I forget who he was working for, JP Morgan or somebody. He was like, oh, I can do electricity. And then found out that Nikola Tesla would make electricity free for everybody. He took that away, and now we're stuck with our current system. But Nikola Tesla said that all of his ideas came from somebody on Mars who told him what to do. Like he was talking to somebody on Mars. So weird stuff. They also said he was in love with a pigeon. So I don't know.
That's what I was going to get at. I mean, these people, they just be fucking batshit crazy. Their brains could be medical marvels, but they're also whack jobs at the same time.
Yeah. They had Howard Hughes, right? The Leonardo, here we go. Leonardo DiCaprio was even real. Howard Hughes peeing in bottles in his bedroom and like saving all of them because it's amazing that he had pee and fingernails. Like everybody has it, man. You don't need to save it. Just throw it out the window.
Yeah. So then my goal, I mean, I think I'm serious because you should have, you had the one show with the flat earth guy. You should have two people, a flat earther and, a round earther, battle it out on your show.
We'll see. I should be able to find somebody who knows.
Find a scientist, get your flat earth guy back and say like, hey, I got a guy who wants to go head to head with you and see what he says. I will listen to that podcast.
I have one listener. All right, I'm ready. All right, so I just pulled up the movies for 2024. This is from Rotten Tomatoes. I'm going to rip through them real fast. You tell me if you're interested in any of them. There's a new Mean Girls.
I'll probably watch it. I like the first one.
Okay. As I'm ripping through them, my computer froze. First one had some funny parts. Not bad.
It's the same cast. They got a lot of the same cast in it. I know. So
Tina Fey, Tim Meadows, Jenna Fisher, John Hamm. I don't see any of the other people.
I think they have like little, like they're not like main characters,
cameos.
but they're doing like cameos in it. Yeah.
Movie called Argyle has Samuel L. Jackson in it.
Well, it was such a, I don't know if I want to see that. It was such a great trailer you gave me about it.
There's a Spider-Man side character, Madam Web, Dakota Johnson and Sydney Sweeney, Emma Roberts, Mike Epps. I don't know. Dune Part 2. I never saw the first one.
I heard the first one was really good. I haven't seen it, but we were just talking about that last night. So maybe that might be one I see. I got to see the first one. So.
A cartoon called Imaginary. I don't recognize any of the names on it. Kung Fu Panda 4.
I haven't seen the first
Jack
three.
Black.
So.
No, all right. Well, hey, you can binge. Arthur the King. Marky Mark. Possibly Arthur the King is a dog or something.
No,
Ghostbusters. Frozen Empire.
Bill Murray's in it. Yeah, I think he's in it.
Yeah, he's supposed to be in it.
Paul Rudd.
Finn Wolfhard. Patton Oswalt. All those guys are back. Mickey 17 with Robert Pattinson. Are you team Edward or team Jacob here? No?
Oh, wait, what is it?
This is called Mickey 17. It has Robert Pattinson in it. Mark Ruffalo. Or Mickey 7, or Sci-Fi Mob. I don't know.
I'd have to look up what it's about.
I don't know. Nobody cares. Godzilla versus King Kong, The New Empire.
Wow. I never got into that Godzilla King Kong shit. It wasn't.
No, it's pretty good. Let's see. Challengers, Zendaya, only goes by her first name. Josh O'Connor, Mike Feist. I don't know. Civil War, Kristen Dunst.
Like a rom-com.
Nick Offerman. Civil War is literally a civil war in the United States. And I saw a preview for it the other day, and it did look interesting. So
maybe.
Yeah. We have The Fall Guy with Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt.
Maybe. I like a Ryan Gosling movie.
Let's see. Back to Black. Oh, this looks like it's the Amy Winehouse biopic. I'd probably give this a shot.
Yeah.
If with Ryan Reynolds and John Krasinski, Steve Carell, Matt Damon, Emily Blunt, Maya Rudolph.
Ooh, sounds like a
A lot of
funny one.
people. A lot of people. Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. I think I've kind of had enough of Mad Max.
Yeah. You say saga or saga?
Saga, Mad Max, Furiosa, a Mad Max saga.
There you
It's
go.
like Sega, but saga.
Well, I know what a saga is. I was surprised how you pronounced it.
Yeah, I have a hard time reading. Garfield with Chris Pratt and Samuel L. Jackson.
Garfield. Bill Murray did a Garfield back in the day.
I think he was the cartoon in general, right? Wasn't he like the daily cartoon or the movies?
He was in the movie for it, yeah.
Yeah. I hope Samuel L. goes full Samuel L. on this. I hope he, yes, motherfucker, I hope you burn and die. I hope
Police
so.
just flew by my house.
Oh, coming for you, man.
No, they're coming for you.
Oh, on the main road, coming up my way.
On the moon. Taking you away for not believing in the moon.
Well, I'm going to question them the whole time down there. As they come arrest me, like, that motherfucker isn't real. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
I'll watch that. I like the Planet of the Apes movie.
Yeah, that's good. Ballerina with Ana de Armas and Keanu Reeves. I hear the cops now too. Bad Boys 4.
Really?
I'll give it a shot.
I haven't seen 3 yet.
June 14th, 2024. Mark your calendar. Inside Out 2. I don't know. Bike Riders, Austin Butler and Tom Hardy. A Quiet Place Day 1. And this is the John Krasinski movie that he directed.
Yeah.
And
The
Emily
first
Blunt.
one was good. Yeah.
So I think this is how it begins. Let's see. Despicable Me 4. I don't care. Twisters, the sequel to Twister. Give that a shot. Deadpool 3. I didn't see the first ones.
They're good. They're funny.
Borderlands with Kevin Hart and Jack Black. Give that a shot. Untitled Alien movie. I don't know if that means like.
Oh, it'll be your favorite movie.
Oh, it looks like The Face Sucker. Oh, a new Alien movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm in for that. Young people in a distant world who find themselves in confrontation with the most terrifying life form in the universe. Man, all right. Kraven the Hunter, Beetlejuice 2. Give that a shot.
That. Yeah, definitely.
Transformers 1. I've given up on Transformers. It's been a minute since I've seen any of them. Untitled Saw sequel. I haven't seen the last 10 of them. The sequel to a Joker. A musical with Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga.
Oh yeah, Lady Gaga is like Harley Quinn.
All right, it's a musical.
That's really
interesting.
I didn't know it would be a musical.
The film will reportedly be a musical. Yes, you read that right.
That's disappointing.
Yep. Terrifier 3 looks like a killer clown type of thing. No, thank you. Venom 3, Tom Hardy. I saw the first one. That was good. I haven't seen the second one.
Yeah, I didn't see the second one either.
Gladiator 2.
Really?
So, yep. Ridley Scott returns to direct the sequel to the historical epic Gladiator. The story will reportedly revolve around a grown-up Lucius, who's become an emperor. We'll see the return of Connie Nielsen. Lucilla? I don't know. What is it?
Lucius is the kid's
Lucius,
name.
there you go. Lucius, great. I think that's how you would pronounce it. Wicked Part 1. This is the Wizard of Oz lady. The Wicked Witch of the West. Whatever. A new Karate Kid.
There you go.
All right, we have the Karate Kid. This is, I think, with Jackie Chan and Daniel LaRusso. So we're going to take the Cobra Kai stuff mixed with the Will Smith's kid stuff. Oh, here you go. This is for you. The Lord of the Rings, the War of the Rohirrim. I fucking know.
Maybe I'll give those movies a shot.
Yeah. Mufasa. Yeah, everyone liked them. Mufasa, I don't know. Sonic the Hedgehog 3.
Aubrey will like that. Yeah. She loves Sonic.
Nosferatu. I don't even know. TBD, a new Spider-Man, Beyond the Spider-Verse, the cartoon one. Those are pretty good. I like those. And here you go. Beverly Hills Cop, Axel F.
Yeah.
Summer 2024. I'm in for those. Not all of them, but I'm in for the Beverly Hills Cop and the Spider-Man.
I want to watch that new, it was on the list of movies that you had for this year, that Leonardo DiCaprio one, the
Flower Moon, Killers of the Flower Moon.
Yeah, I want to watch that.
The author of that was on Brian Russillo's podcast, a sports guy, and he'll interview authors sometimes. And the story's just crazy that they, so this is putting Native Americans on their small
Yeah,
reservation
yeah.
of a land, and then they find oil on this land.
And then they
So
start killing
all
them,
these,
right?
right. So all these, they were poor Native Americans are now super rich. And, if you had any part, you had to have a certain amount of tribe in you of that tribe, and you could get some of the money. So what happened is that's how you would get the money. But then what if you were to die, it could go to your spouse. So now a lot of the people in the town were trying to go marry into the family. And then like there was all these mysterious deaths, and then families
Yeah.
killing people within the family to get more money. It's just absolute crazy.
Because I think in that movie, DiCaprio is married to one of the Native American, or he's seeing one of the Native American girls in the movie. So,
Yeah, the guy who
but
wrote the book was like, there was just so much. He's like, it was enough for me to write the book. He's like, but dude, there's like unsolved crimes. This is like everybody was involved. It was like everyone was turning their heads to what was happening because they were trying to do the same thing.
yeah,
Really crazy stuff.
well, it's gonna be good. I mean, Scorsese, he's made a lot of movies with DiCaprio.
That's his guy, man. You need to find somebody who's going to put you in, like Johnny Depp and Tim Burton. You
Yeah,
have to,
so he
I
said,
guess luckily for DiCaprio, if he is real, he's a good actor to put him in stuff. But if
because he
not,
got Gangs of New York was them. Yeah, Shutter Island, I think they did together.
Shutter Island had the worst ending. It bothered me to no end.
Really? Wow.
I think that DiCaprio should have been right the whole time. I think that
Oh,
would make a better ending to the movie. That he thought that like that there was like these Nazi secret experiments going on in the attic, and they finally convinced him like, hey, you need to stop with this nonsense, or we're gonna give you a lobotomy. He's like, oh no, like I made it all up.
Oh, so I see what you're saying.
So I think
I thought it was a decent movie. I liked it still, but
I thought it was good. I think just the end would have been like, they broke him down enough that he's like, no, 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 I made all this up. But then when it really was
like a twist on the twist.
like twist the twist.
Yeah.
You keep twisting, it'll be straight eventually. Come unwound.
That's
Joe,
what
what do you
she
got going
said.
on, man? You got these people, they need anything about you, they need to follow you, just keep tuning in.
Yes, keep tuning in. I mean, I'm not work wise. I mean, you looking for a work plug here, or what
Whatever
kind
you
of
want,
stuff
man.
you're
Your
doing?
plug. You guys need a roof, you need solar.
That's what I do. Yeah, if you need both, if you don't want to pay for your roof, you can potentially get it for free if you get solar. So that's nice. Save money on your electric bill, get a brand new roof, pay nothing for it. That's pretty much what I do for a living. And this,
These are your two things you do for a living.
yeah,
That's
these
it.
two things. It's
Yeah.
what I live for.
If
And I
people
mean,
are in another part of the country, can you help them with solar? Are you have a rep or somebody you can tell? Like, is your company just local or is it
no,
national?
just Jersey.
Just Jersey.
We just
Okay.
just Jersey and PA, just because there's different rules and regulations with every different utility company. So
Yeah.
it's kind
I
of
didn't know if you guys national company. This was just your little pod.
now there are national one. I left the national companies to come to this company because the national ones rip you off. Big
Okay.
corporation. Don't go big corporation solar. Go with the smaller guys because you get the same thing but much better deal.
All right. So go to, if you live in New Jersey or PA, hit Joe up. He'll get you a roof or solar, possibly for free. I don't know anything about this. He'll help you out. If
Yeah.
you don't live in New Jersey or Pennsylvania, but you want a free roof, come to me. I will help you buy a house, and then you can get in touch with Joe.
Yeah.
And this is the full
Or
circle of it.
well, yeah. Look, in your case, if you have customers are moving into a house and the roof sucks, they can potentially let them know, like, hey, we can get you that at no cost if you're interested in going solar. So it could all work out. I've done that for people all the time with realtors.
Just
I
people
work
helping
with
people,
Bob.
man. That's what we're doing here.
Yeah. There we go.
I like it. All right, man. You and your family, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Thank you
You
so
too,
much for
buddy.
coming on. This is going to be
Sure.
the end of the year special, the last show of 2023. And we're going to have you back in 2024, man. I can't wait.
All right, buddy. I appreciate it. Thanks, man.
All right, man. I'll talk to you. Take care.
See ya. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, everyone. That was our show. Don't forget to leave a review on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you stream your podcast. Like and follow the podcast on Facebook and Instagram to stay up to date in all things wild and weird. Check out the links in the show notes for more information on our guest. The biggest support you can offer is to tell everyone about the podcast. Until next time.